up, everybody? Welcome to episode 56 of the Pylon Show. We have a huge lineup of some of the best and most talented North American players and casters we've ever seen in our lives, and also Artosis. So thank you all for tuning in. We've got some really great topics we're going to jump into, but first I want to see how these guys are doing. Dan, you've been busy casting with what some people are calling the greatest commentary duo in the world. That's, of course, Creighton, a.k.a. Slightly Heavier Caldor. How has that been for you in the GSL? It's amazing.
I've casted with both of them. Caldor is definitely slightly heavier. He has a really large muscle mass. But that aside, yeah, everything's going well. I've been casting a hell of a lot of StarCraft with a hell of a lot of people. Having a hell of a good time doing it.
Wow. And it's about time. There's my dad joke for the day. I will kill myself after the broadcast. Thank you very much. Yeah. We also have a first-time appearance here, and it's really cool. A guy that is a WCS commentator in Latin America, a prominent player. This guy plays a lot of games, constantly taking ladder points from everybody except for Puck, and he's here.
Come on.
You take some ladder points from Puck, right? Like, who? You guys have a little bit of a cycle between the two of you. I watch your streams. I'm a fan. But Jim Rising, thank you for tuning in, or for coming on, by the way. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for the invitation, even if English is not my first language. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And yeah, that is the nice thing here. So Jim Rising, of course, is a Spanish-speaking StarCraft personality, but he does have a translator on to help him if things get a little bit difficult. So there you'll be maybe hearing some of that, but it's just a cool opportunity to have Jim on here. But we have returning as well, representing the most imbalanced and disgusting race in all of StarCraft. It is Puck. I am ashamed that you're even here and that you play StarCraft, but thank you for coming on anyways.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
A lot of people would complain that Dan and I are Protoss players, so I'm going to try to flip the book on this. I'm officially a Terran player, which means I really hate everything about StarCraft, but I obsessively play it and don't do anything else. Speaking of Terran players that are obsessed with doing weird shit, we do also have 7'3" Princess Jiggly or Juggernaut Jason on Twitter. Thank you for coming on, Jason.
Thanks for having me again, dude. I mean, you stole my intro, but no, I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah. It's that outro that you're known for, though. That's the part that I won't steal that.
Absolutely.
That'll be a surprise for some people, I guess. Yeah. So we did want to get some active, professional, and just these guys play a crap ton of StarCraft. We want to talk about that balance patch that's proposed and just kind of the current state of StarCraft. And hopefully the conversation will be good for you guys. We're going to talk about our sponsors real quick, but we're going to get right into the topics because Jim Rising cannot stay the whole time. So we'll kind of do a little bit of a different order for this episode of the Pylon Show, but I don't think anyone will super mind. And if you do, I don't care. So first of all, we want to thank our sponsors. We have AFKT, Mr. Lycan. When he's not bathing in milk and covering himself in cookies, he is running a tea company, and it's apparently a pretty darn good one. Dan's been drinking it. We've been loving it. Thank you to their support. You can do the code. I always forget this every week. I don't know how it's possible. It's almost like everybody. Yeah, it's Pylon. It's just straight up Pylon. So if you do buy some tea, make sure to use that code Pylon. Save yourself some money, but let them know that you're someone that supports the StarCraft company through our show. And then, of course, you can also support us on Matcherino. This is something my heart skips a beat every time because today is an international day of something. I don't know what it is. Matt, what do we got?
It's International Kitten Day, Jeff.
Wow. International Kitten Day. Dan, does that catch you off guard?
That's reasonable. I can get on board with that. Hot Dog Day? Fuck off.
I like
Kitten Day? All right.
Okay. Kitten Day passes the seal of approval for Dan. On Matcherino, you can type in a code, and it supports the show. It is going to be meow. I don't think capitalization matters. If it does, then Cobra is...
It does not.
It does not, okay. I was going to say. Because we do have a stylized meow there, which is really cool. But yeah, just MEOW. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps support the show. It also lets Matcherino know that, of course, working with us is a good thing for them to do, so it's just awesome. You guys have been really good about that. Just please continue to be so. You can buy some merch through there. And then Matcherino is just an integral part of a lot of the StarCraft scene. They do a lot of supporting of tournaments and stuff like that, so make sure and peruse through there if you're interested and you've got some disposable cash. And last, but certainly not least, the main way to support this show is through our Patreon. And that number is amazing. You guys are just really incredible. I don't mind filleting or making out aggressively, whatever it is you want to, however you want to describe this. That's how I feel about you guys. It's awesome. If you're not a Patreon supporter of the show, think about it. maybe dig through your couch and find some change. But it goes a long way in making the show possible, and we really appreciate it. So thank you guys. And we'll talk more about that at the end. But that's it for the support. If you're not any of that, one of the things I should mention, if you're listening on YouTube or something like that, even just clicking the bell, following ArtosisTV on YouTube, or here on my channel, clicking the follow button, just watching, all that stuff does help the show. It lets me know that this is something worth doing, and you guys have been great about that, so just thank you. Okay. With that all being tucked away in like 30 seconds flat, I think it was, let's get into the first topic. It is the main topic of discussion. It is the proposed patches in the community updates. So this did happen last week, I believe. We saw that come out last week. There's been some Reddit threads. There's been some discussions. But all of that is incredibly inferior to what happens here on the Pylon Show, which is we get the foremost experts on everything. Jim Rising is the absolute most knowledgeable Zerg player that anyone could get. Juggernaut Jason is one of, if not the greatest minds in StarCraft, but certainly as a Terran player, he is the greatest. And Puck, if there isn't someone more creative than him, with TLO having retired and married off to Canada, I don't know who that is. So this is going to be a fantastic conversation. I think the best way to go through this is just the bullet points, right? Let's one at a time, each one, and we'll just kind of... I'll throw to people if they're being quiet, but if you guys have something you want to say about this, we'll just go out of order or whatever. So first and foremost, Terran. Stim pack upgrade, research duration decreased from 121, which, by the way, let me just get this out of the way real quick. I know that we're tired of me, but who in the fuck thinks of these numbers? 121 seconds? Just make it 120. Just make it 2 minutes. What is that anyways, down to 100 seconds, which is a number we can wrap our heads around. But this is a pretty big one, you guys. What do you guys think? What does this change?
I wasn't expecting that at all, the stim. Honestly,
Nobody was asking for that, right? Nobody.
No, nobody was asking for it. I mean, they stated the objective is to give Terran an option to, cancel the fast third base. Whether or not that's actually going to, work in practice is something that's going to need to be played with on ladder. I mean, I've played test games, but you're never going to get the same degree of, pro players like repeatedly doing builds and refining it to the point that the meta actually changes. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to affect any of the current like 2-base all-ins. It's going to be more towards 3-1-1 builds, I think, specifically, which aren't very common right now just because you can't really do harassment damage early on with those. But yeah, I mean, it's something that just needs to be played with a lot, I think, before I can actually develop an opinion on it.
I feel like people aren't freaking out about it, right? Like Jim, in the TVZ matchup, is faster stim that big of a deal at all?
I think this is for Protoss, and I don't think it's a good idea. Everything we are gonna see, it's more all-ins with SCVs and without medivacs, and I don't think it's a good option. I don't think it's a good idea to make this change. It's not.
Well,
I don't know.
I guess to be fair and balanced, we'll let Puck talk a little bit, even though he does play Protoss, this filthy mongrel. I mean, so I like what Jason was saying. It does feel like it's to cancel third bases, which have been aggressively going down. I heard people talk about also that they've been getting stim denied a lot through like Warp Prism harass and stuff like that, I guess. So this is supposed to kind of curb that as well. What do you think?
I feel like it'll make a lot of Terrans a little more creative. I'm not sure if 2-in-1 timings were really a thing with the shield battery, like how much of that has been explored. Honestly, like Terran will still have fewer units when they do attack, and I feel like Protoss would still technically have options to deal with it. But I feel like it's mostly a change to prevent stim from getting sniped over and over again.
So you're okay with it? Would you say you don't care? Like this happens, and you're like, fine.
I'm not too sure yet. Like, I'm sure if I played Innovation and Innovation did some stim timing, I'd be like, this is pretty broken, and I never want to play against it again. But I don't know. I'd have to watch some Korean versus Terran matchups.
Yeah, it feels like 20 seconds is pretty specific, right? Like the amount of that window of time for that to be that impactful has to be a timing, or it has to be even anti-harass too. Because again, some Warp Prism harass that you do, it's because they don't have stim, and then once they have stim, you're just kind of running as opposed to like hanging out and fighting more often than not. Does that sound about right? We're just all pretty okay with this change?
Yeah, I mean, just to go off what you're talking with Jim, I think it will have a pretty decent effect in TVZ. There's already been tests with 2-on-1 specifically, and that build can actually hit like 10 to 15 seconds earlier now. And the important thing about the stim change itself is it's not stim necessarily, it's the combat shields and when that finishes. So like the actual follow-up in TVZ specifically is going to be a lot stronger because it's just going to hit faster. It's going to hit the full 20 seconds faster. And whether that they meant to have it affect TVZ or not, I think that's going to come in a lot of different builds. There's a lot of different Hellbat Marine stim timings you can do, and of course 2-on-1 itself. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like this needs to be played with before we can really judge it too much.
It was kind of a funny one. It felt like it was that Thor range upgrade again, where people were like, at least this is coming with other stuff, so that the Terrans aren't actually. I don't think they're mad about this patch. They're pretty happy overall. For we'll talk about the overall feeling, I guess, at the end. But like, nobody was talking about stim, and then this just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I like the idea of trying to give Terran a little bit more play with opening builds, where you don't just have to get like all of your tech options immediately, then add barracks. Because right now, if I ever see anyone open 3 barracks before they get like a starport or something, I almost giggle because it's like, well, what do you think you're going to do with that? That's not going to do anything. You're going to buy all these units and you have no real mobility or anything. But it seems to me like when I just kind of think about this, it's like, oh yeah, I could see this making third bases a little bit slower for Protoss, which I think that could make it more interesting. I am a little bit nervous for Zerg players having to play against Maru when he refines his 2-1-1 build. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I feel like against Protoss, I think it's actually a really good change. Yeah. It seems like it's going to do what it intends. That's the thought that I have in my head when I kind of play it out.
I agree. It's interesting because a quiet StarCraft scene is a overjoyed one. So like this came out, and they're like, oh, okay, that means they're like through the moon happy. Yeah. Okay, so we can always circle back, but that seems good on that. So the next one, another one that nobody was talking about, is the new upgrade, Enhanced Shockwaves. Increases the radius of the Ghost EMP round from 1.5 to 2. It costs 150, and the research time is 79 seconds. Dude, my dream for the Pylon show is I do, and we have friends. We have friends at Blizzard. I want to get one of these guys on and be like, tell me. Make me believe. Why is this not 80 seconds? Or 75 or 70. Why is it 79? Anyways.
Well, 75 would be too quick, Jeff.
I guess.
Yeah, that one's obvious.
Yeah, 4 seconds. I mean, that's where you go. That's where you go next. But I think this one, I mean, that's a substantial. I'm not going to try to do math on stream because I'm not that smart, but it's a big one. It's a big buff to the radius of EMP. And it seems like it's a pretty good answer again. This is something we're seeing, like, I think it's meant for Protoss, but we're also seeing Mass Infestor in the ZVT matchup. And one of the only ways you can ever deal with that as a Terran is with EMP and Snipe, right? So this seems like a pretty darn good just overall Terran buff. Anyone want to start with some comments?
Yeah, I mean, this was another unexpected one for sure.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most underestimated of the changes, I think. Like, I've played a bit with it in TVP specifically, and it's not just like the radius buff, it's a range buff too, right? Like, it gives you more chance to EMP High Templar before they actually storm you. And it's incredible how easy you can just like blanket a whole Protoss army with EMP now. And like you said in TVZ, it has another effect on that matchup, which I don't think was the goal for them. But yeah, you like when it comes to TVZ late game, it comes down to EMPing those infestors. If you get them, you can pretty easily roll over the Zerg army. And if not, then it's a little bit more difficult. So I think it's a really, really strong buff for Terran.
Jim, Puck?
I think Terran deserves this because Terran suffered too much versus Protoss versus Zerg. I mean, I am a Zerg player, but I'm fair. Like, Terran is suffering. Like, people besides TY, Special, Geothermal, Maru, it's really suffering. So they deserve this. But they learn how to deal with these kind of things with nukes, at least versus Zerg. Nukes and Liberator Harass. I think it's pretty strong, but I don't complain. I think they deserve that.
I feel like Jim Rising has a little bit of special influence in his life.
I do have to say, this one also comes out of left field, but I like it too, right? Like the fact that it's an upgrade. It's not 100, which is like the cheap brand of upgrades as well. It's also not super mega expensive, but it's decent. And it doesn't immediately upgrade. It is definitely geared towards late game, where Protoss armies and Zerg armies, to be honest, can get ridiculous, right? And it feels, and I agree with Jim that Terran is like suffering, where it's like you have this good fight, but then 3 Templars come out of nowhere and they just carpet bomb your entire army. And you're like, well, I lose. The fight's completely over and I just lost. Or it turns out they have 30 Infestors, they fungal your whole army and chuck Infested Terrans, which can still probably happen because those spells happen so fast, but at least you can completely blanket them and not have to deal with that the next round. I also like this though because there is counterplay. Like for me, if I'm thinking of it as a Zerg player, this means, and hear me out, Zerg players, because none of you fucking do this. Spread your Infestors. You're gonna actually have to micro your actual Infestors. And I know, like, listen,
it can't be done, Jeff.
No,
I've never
Dan,
seen
I've
it.
seen it. Dan, no, I swear to God. Hey, you take the best Zerg Dark, does he do it? No, he doesn't. Do you take the best Zerg Rogue, does he do it? Absolutely not. But does Cyril do it? No, he still doesn't do that. But if you take this upgrade and you make it where they're like, do I have to spread my Infestors? And they'll be like, Jesus Christ. And they have their little Discords.
I thought that they have to stay together. Am I wrong about that?
Jim can confirm. I believe they can be separated. Jim, can Infestors move apart?
Yeah, but we never do that.
Yeah, well.
Oh, okay. I was confused about that, just because I've never seen it, and I watch a lot of StarCraft, so.
Some Zergs don't even know that you can burrow and still cast spells. That's the one that actually, like, it'll get me to punch my computer. Like, I can't even... When I see 35 Infestors waddling above the ground, I'm like... anyways. So I do like that there is counterplay, because it's not just a straight stat buff. But for the Protoss perspective, Puck, what do you think about this? It's a big one, right? Like, the radius gets a lot bigger.
Yeah, I feel like combining that with all the other changes against Protoss, specifically the War Prism change, late game is going to change dramatically, because one of the biggest reasons Terrans struggled late game versus Protoss wasn't because of the initial battle, it would be the reinforcements that would come right after. So like you weren't just fighting like 120, 100 supply Protoss army, you'd actually be fighting like 140, 150 supply Protoss army right away.
Right.
So combining that with a massive VMP buff, it's going to be pretty interesting. I feel like Protoss is going to have a hard time, but I mean, like...
Well, we'll get to that in a second, not to cut you off, but like, if I can... Let me ask you this. So this upgrade seems okay, and we'll get to the discussion, but to you, it's all of them across the board together that's kind of problematic?
Yeah, I'd imagine. Like, I feel like EMP already is a bit undervalued by a lot of people. Like, it's instantaneous damage. Basically, like Storm, you can't dodge it. It negates Templars. It has more range than Templar. Although Storm is a bit more punishing versus Terranians since they have lower HP on average. I don't know. Like, I feel like the balance will shift the other direction with the EMP buff.
I think a funny StarCraft effect this one will have is, and this, I apologize, there's going to be some Terran players who are mad about this, I won't name them, but every Terran North American ladder, but like, Ghosts are this really funny unit where like, in the hands of someone very good with Ghosts, Jesus fucking Christ, right? Like every snipe that goes off in like chain, every EMP that carpet bombs your army, they seem really good. Then you face the other Terran players where like, they have 15 Ghosts, they get feedback stormed, they die in droves, and that's like, this really expensive chunk of their army they can't actually replace, and then they just fall over and die immediately after. I wonder the effect this is going to have. Is that going to rate? I mean, I think the obvious answer is it takes the mediocre Terran player and makes them pretty good, because it's just like Juggernaut Jason was saying, like the radius is just that much larger, so now you can kind of short shot it, but you're still going to be hitting stuff. But in like the hands of Maru and shit, like, right? It's really scary.
Well, I look at this change and I feel like it's a smart one because I don't feel like it's going to really break anything. Like, yeah, you get the entire army instead of a good chunk of the army, but really good players were getting most of the army with their EMPs already.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at the way that high-level TVP engagements normally happen, it's not like the EMP goes off and then the Terran wins because they hit the EMP most of the time. Most of the time, it's like, okay, yeah, the EMPs, some of them go off, and like both sides battle for a bit and then one starts to retreat, right? That is generally how all the battles go. So I don't feel like this is just, it's not like, for instance, if you increase Storm's radius, that would fuck the matchup. The matchup would be over. It would be stupid, right? But the EMP radius, it's like, oh, okay, there is a lot of counterplay here where it's like, oh, you EMP'd it a little bit extra. Okay, maybe you got an extra High Templar in there or something. I'm going to retreat a little bit quicker out of this engagement. So it seems like a smart change in that way for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So 1.5 to 2. I'm going to try. Chat, just say it immediately. What is that? That is it's not a 25% boost, right? Because that's too easy. That's like what
This is like a 75% boost in size.
33%? Is it 33? Definitely not 75. Hang on. Let the chat do it.
Look at the area of it.
Someone's got a 12-inch dong. It's not 200%, my sweet Baxter. Get out of here. 60. Okay, you guys are dumb. Absolutely disgusting. It is 33.3.
No, it's not. It's like 75% bigger.
It's significantly bigger.
You know what makes me feel good is that none of us know. Now I feel better, because I'm always just like, I don't know.
For reference, I think fungal is 2.25, so you can kind of imagine it. But I don't know if you care. I think we're just getting the number, but
I'm just trying to figure out how much bigger of an increase it is. The fact that chat doesn't know is actually making me feel really good. We're all stupid. That's great. You guys think someone in the Fortnite community would know? I don't know. All right, so let's go to the next upgrade here.
People, hold on. Are they zeroing in on my number now in the chat?
Well, if they are, I got to move this conversation away from that.
What I'm seeing here. Look at that.
Matt, if you want to toggle down on that screen, because I cannot read. There we go. Nope, that's one we just did, buddy. Thank you, though. Zerg Infested Terran rockets damage decreased from 14 to 12. Jim, you dirty, dirty son of a bitch, with those 14 damage Infested Terrans now down to 12. What say you? Is that good? You okay?
I don't mind. I died before I use it, or I win before use them.
Oh.
So they are nerfing Infested Terran because the strategy of like 20 spores and mass infestors, but I never get in there. So I die more than I kill, but I don't mind. I mean,
all the sample games are against.
It's like for European Zergs.
Yeah.
Because if you watch CVP from Korea or from North America, it's all about all-ins from both sides. So it's about survive or it's about killing. Never a standard macro game, like late game, sorry. Yeah, so I don't mind.
Yeah, the comment does say that it'll take one extra shot to kill an interceptor is their kind of thought process. So that's pretty significant. I don't know. I always have a little bit of a reticence when you balance around interceptors and carriers in general, because I think that's tough in StarCraft 2. It always has been. Like, either the carrier becomes ridiculously too strong, or it's kind of like it is right now, where it's pretty bad, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, if you have 12 and they weren't expecting it, then yeah, it turns out the carrier's pretty sick. But, like, it feels... I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Puck, but I don't think we can spend too much time on this, but it's balanced around the interceptor. Does this move your heart at all?
I feel like if you go anything above 5 carriers, the game is already over, because Zerg has made too many infestors and transitioned. Protoss can't like mass like an air army, because Zerg just makes more and more infestors, and just they don't even necessarily have to utilize infested Terrans to win the game. They'll just essentially create 2 armies by neuroparasiting everything well burrowed and killing your observers or oracles. And that is my experience with playing versus late game Zerg.
I did not intend for this, but we have a couple of very wounded people here on the show. It's like, Jim's like, I'm dead before it happens. I don't care. And Puck's like, I can't do anything. They have my army under their control.
I feel like you've cast enough WCS to know what happens late game.
Yeah. I'm down on the carry. I've been down on the carry for a while. We'll get to it in a second, but they are changing the build time of the interceptor. That was a big deal. That was an over nerf. But like I said, for me, the carrier's kind of like the Swarm Host, and I actually like the Swarm Host as it is now. But for the longest time, remember all those balance changes on the Swarm Host? And it was just like, it was either ridiculous, and every Zerg strategy was just making Swarm Host and made for a terrible game. I feel like the carrier, I don't know. I don't have much substance here, but from the Terran Coalition, Jason, do you have any feelings on that? They only mention the interceptor there. It doesn't change things for ZVT, I don't think, right?
I mean, paired with the EMP change, I'll take it. It's a good buff for late game TVZ Terran, but yeah, I can't imagine like my battle cruisers dying 1 second earlier is gonna matter too much.
All right. Next one is that carrier interceptor build time decreased from 11 to 9 seconds. It is a 2-second change. Anybody want to do that math real quick? No, I'm just kidding.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Because you are already nerfing Infested Terran. Why do you need to buff carrier? It's supposed to be, I mean, StarCraft, it's supposed to be balanced right now. So if you think Infested Terran is strong, okay, you are nerfing it. So why are you buffing carrier? Doesn't make sense. It's like,
okay, hold on, Jim. So are you gonna be playing against Protoss, and then the carrier attacks you, and it has 6 interceptors, and you're like, "Fuck! It's supposed to only have 5 interceptors right now," because that's what the difference is.
I don't know. You have a point, but I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like with Hydras and Infestors, you try to kill the interceptors, right? You don't focus the carriers because you die. So if you are nerfing one thing, why are you buffing the another? So wait to see what happens, and then you say, okay, it's still strong. So let's buff the carrier, not the bot things.
Not to call you out, Jim, but what I like about what you're saying is I think if we add up the buffs and nerfs in this, you'll see the Protoss, they come out on the negative side here a little heavily. So your question will be pretty fantastic later when we start going, well...
I'm prepared for
yes.
About Protoss and Zerg. I'm prepared. About Terran, I don't care about Terran.
Yeah, who cares about Terran?
Listen,
they are dead.
When you are playing a late game PvZ and you have mass carriers and you lose all of your interceptors, you might as well just be all in at that point, because by the time you retreat and wait 50 seconds, the Zerg's already going to spread all across the map, have spore crawlers, and deny 2 of your bases by the time you can re-engage. That's how I feel.
Well, don't worry. You'll have the Warp Prism to warp in a bunch of stuff here. No, I think I honestly think this change was because people kind of singularly complained about the build time of the Interceptor anyways. So I'm teasing you, Jim, but I don't disagree with what you're saying in the sense that, like, if you nerf the reason why Interceptors are problematic, buffing them... what were their build time before, by the way? Before they nerfed it to 11 seconds? Does anyone know?
Or before?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Someone in the chat? But I've lost faith in the chat. You guys can't do math for shit. You're on the same level as Artosis, which is really bad. 60 seconds? No, 6 seconds?
Sheet full of the changes they've made.
It was 6 seconds? They went from 6 seconds to 11 seconds, and we just let them do that? Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had a Pylon show about it. And we were like, oh, yeah, carriers suck now. Look at that. It's like everything's bad.
Yeah, but I feel like I should have set myself on fire or something, or at least torn a shirt.
To really show your discontent.
I really needed to, yeah. But now as a Terran, I don't fucking care. They can burn, so... okay, yeah, we'll talk... And I'm liking the top. We'll get to the overall picture at the end here. Don't worry. Nexus Strategic Recall cooldown increased from 85 to 130 seconds.
Say it again, one more time. one more time.
This is one of the most heavy-handed nerfs I've ever seen. It's like 85 seconds to 130.
That's a big
Jim and Jason are just laughing. And Puck looks like I literally kicked his dog. Like and it feels like that. A lot of people complain about strategic recall. I guess it already got its radius nerfed down, but this is absolutely massive. Who wants to go first?
How long was it before? Before like the recent changes?
Did they nerf it the time as well when they changed the radius?
Yep.
Oh, so someone in the chat, what was it before 85 seconds?
75%.
Get out of here.
So they're just basically reverting it completely back to what it was, while also having a smaller recall.
It was not 20 seconds, Flux. Get out of here. That'd be incredible.
Can you imagine that? Every 20 seconds you can recall? There's just Protoss armies appearing everywhere around the map.
I think it was like 60
You'd
seconds.
run out of chrono before you'd run out of recall.
Yeah, exactly.
Recall one single unit.
Recall one singly.
That's like how you blink from now on. It's like in your battle, you recall stalkers so you don't have to upgrade blink.
I think this one's interesting. I'm gonna read out their words on this because I think to me this is like a slap. Like someone took off their glove and slapped you, and you're like, you need to explain yourself. So they say, while it's cool that Protoss can utilize strategic recall to reposition their armies between their bases, we believe they can currently do so too frequently. This change is intended to more punish Protoss players who are consistently out of position against multi-pronged harass. Yeah. I feel like I just read the explanation for why you shouldn't eat dish soap. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we feel that the combination of chemicals are bad for you, so probably don't eat this. It's like, well, yeah.
Well, it's cool that there's a lemon on the bottle. It's actually poisonous.
I've heard this language before. I remember back when our Nexus had range 11 photon overcharge or whatever the shit it was, and it was all about, like, the discussion was about Protoss of all three races has the hardest time responding to harass or something. So that's the part that this is like baby with the bathwater a little bit with me. I understand the frustration of, like, I'm out on the map and I'm fighting you. You try to base raid with me, I recall back. That's got to be frustrating for a Zerg Terran and probably a Protoss player as well. But the part that I think strategic recall is important for is when 3 medevacs come YOLOing out of the fucking sky, just randomly, by the way, North American ladder, just any time at all. And you're at your natural. It's not even like you're out on the map. You're just at your natural, and the stalkers are like, "Oh, we got to get back there pretty quick." And meanwhile, you've lost 3 pylons, 4 gateways, your nexus, and one of your forge. Then you get there, and what do? I don't know how Terran does it, by the way. It's not ropes. They just jump up into the medevac or some shit. Don't talk to me about lore. And then they go, and they teleport out, and you're like. And then, like, the game devs and probably Jim and Juggernaut Dace are like, why didn't you have 6 photon cans and 4 shield batteries? And I'm like, because I'm trying to survive. If I have that, I don't live through the battle that happens at the front of my base. And they're like, well, go Colossus. I'm like, I can't. Every Terran goes Raven. That's tough, right?
You know, if they're going to do this, why don't they make the actual warp back quicker? Because you're not like right now, you're barely, if they pick up like the second they see you recalling, they basically get out of there anyways, right?
Right.
So I look at this and it's so hard otherwise to actually defend against those drops. It's like, it's not going to be hard for Terran to pull off more than one very scary drop that it's hard to be split correctly against in 130 seconds. That's not like a difficult task.
Jim, you know? Jason, why am I wrong?
You're absolutely wrong for the following reasons. So for starters, so when they initially quote unquote nerfed the recall and made it a smaller cooldown, it wasn't a nerf because I mean they reduced the radius, but how did the radius affect anything? Like all this taught Protosses to do was spam right click their army and then recall, and they get all the units. The only time this matters is when maybe in like a 200 engagement and the Terran just EMPs everything. The Protoss is like, oh god, we gotta get out of here. And then they spam recall and they miss like 3 Tempests. And it's like, sick. I killed 3 Tempests. Like that's the only time the radius has affected it. So this is a buff. And now it feels like now they're kind of helping us back out again and saying, all right, guys, listen, we understand. So we're giving you back the time. I don't know. It feels like initially it was really good. And when they nerfed it is when it became really ridiculous for Terran to deal with. Because it limits your aggression so much. Like I know 85 seconds might seem like a long time, but like every time I ever go drop a Protoss player, they always recall back, and 85 seconds to refresh that, like you're pulling back, repairing your units, going back in, and like they're already got a recall again. So
I feel like 85 seconds is a pretty significant amount of time. That's like how many production cycles of your barracks?
A couple, at least. Yeah,
a few.
It's nothing, Puck. Come on. Like, why are you so rude with Terrans? Like, they need this.
They need this.
Thank you.
But we can't have 9-second interceptors.
I'll give you 6-second interceptors if you let me have this one. Like,
every time I watch a PVT, it's like, oh my god, thanks God I'm not Terran. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, but don't complain. Don't complain and play like Maru. Yeah. No, sorry. What? Like Zest.
Yeah, play like Zest.
I don't
Okay.
know. It already feels so difficult to drop a Protoss player if they've got observers positioned and stalkers on the map, and it's like every time you get that drop through, it's like, all right, recall. Just it helps. I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just it's pretty heavy-handed. It almost
Definitely a
doubled it.
big one. Yep.
It almost
I'd like
doubled
to
it.
still see like the delay, like going on to Artosis instead, having it like be instantaneous, but like only once it's back at the Nexus it should be instant. But like you should still be able to get punished for recalling. I feel in some way.
Yeah.
Joking aside, I think the real impact of this is just that they're going to be more cagey about the recalls, which is probably a good thing, right? Because like Jason said, right now, it feels like any drop that gets through, recall, right? And they'll probably have the cooldown go by the next time that you set up. Because the other part we're not mentioning is it's not like you put your whole army in drops. I mean, you can, but most of the time it's like half your army's in the drop, the other half's trying to pick up a third or fourth. And if the amount of time it takes is expanded, where they don't have the ability to easy mode split between those two defenses, then it makes it more costly for the Protoss, and they need to be in a better position. So I think that's good. I can already hear and feel previous Jeff that played Protoss with Puck. We're going to talk about like the overall picture. Like it feels like this is a good change in a vacuum, but with everything else, it's like who at Blizzard just woke up and was like, "Fuck Protoss, Jesus Christ."
That's why I'm silent about that change, because I'm more worried about the next change that we're going to talk about.
Yep. So we'll get into that right now. And this is actually kind of it's interesting because it's well, no, all right, I'll just do it. So warp prisms no longer start with the warp conduit passive ability, and warp ins will take 11 seconds when not near a warp gate or nexus, up from 4. Those numbers. The gravitic drive upgrade now has the additional functionality of granting warp prisms the warp conduit passive ability, reducing warp in time from 11 to 4. So that upgrade that you get for your speed shuttles will now also basically make them the warp prism as you know now. You just also have the speed upgrade, but until you get that upgrade, it is an 11-second warp in, which I'm going to guess is what a pylon is when it's not next to a gateway or nexus. Is that right? Nobody knows, right?
I feel like what's going to end up happening is whenever you're going to see a Protoss all in, they're going to be proxying a nexus so that they can get that fast warp in speed right away. Like that's like waiting an extra seconds every single warp in cycle. That's you can't really all in.
And every 6 minutes, you can actually also strategically recall in that nexus too, Puck. So you've just changed the meta right now.
Wait, so if the nexus is building, do you get that effect? It doesn't have to be completed?
Yeah, it's instant when you build the nexus.
Yeah.
You guys are thinking inside the box, though. What I'm going to do is put 8 probes inside of every warp prism, drop them as I fly across, and then build a gateway beneath the opened warp prism. And now guess what it has, motherfucker? Fast warping.
Amazing.
Will you eventually see like 9 depowered gateways as you chase my warp prism away? Yes. Yes, you will, but this is a big one. And Puck, you're a huge warp prism user. Before we play My Heart Will Go On by Evanescence, I believe it is, you do get an upgrade. You get the speed warp prism upgrade. So honestly, the big impact here, it's a cheap upgrade that upgrades pretty fast. So the window of time is basically before you get that upgrade, the warp prism's kind of useless, but afterwards it returns back to normal. So is it that big of a change?
It's pretty significant.
I mean, you need the robotics bay, I guess, now, which in the past you didn't need.
Like you might see a lot of like Korean Protosses like experimenting with robo bay openings in the GSO, or like parting was starting to do something that I've been experimenting with, is like double warp prism drops or triple warp prism drops versus Terran. Particular, I feel like can be very effective because generally, like when you just warp in units before, like you'd have to still wait those 4 seconds, so you're not like immediately dropping on top of the army. When you drop it like 2 warp prisms, you can drop the units wherever you want them. It can be super effective that way. So you might see a little bit more of that being experimented with. But like I honestly do not see this change going through. Like it's the biggest nerf PvZ I've ever seen in my life.
What?
And PvZ is already pretty bad as it is. Like I don't think it's like even 50-50. I feel like Protoss is at 40.
This is the biggest nerf you think ever?
One of them. Like this is like imagine the Marjorie build, but like every single warp in is 7 seconds longer. Like it's such a tight timing that if you're waiting 7 seconds, like you've already lost.
So my devil's advocate counterpoint to you, and then I'll throw to Jim here in a second, but is it good for the scene to have the Marjorie build where a lot of PvZs right now are being decided inside of 6 minutes, and it's just a massive warping off a Warp Prism against a Zerg desperately trying to make lanes and
like
roaches?
Protoss is still gonna all-in Zerg players no matter what because there isn't really any options like in PvZ right now.
Have I told you about our Lord and Savior, the Interceptor, that now builds at 9 seconds?
I mean,
Can I sell you on this, sir?
it's gonna be pretty hard.
Yeah.
To sell me that one.
Jim, as the Zerg player here, and someone that I watch play against Puck every night, who makes like 6 War Prisms, by the way, and drops Archons on top of your entire army. That strategy will still be happening, but you won't be facing the Marjorie build as much. How do you feel about this?
Okay, this is necessary because we are dying versus DTs because we need to cut the drone production to defend the 4 DTs. And if it doesn't work, don't worry, we have Archons. So it's a pain in the ass. So we have 7 more seconds to survive and maybe 2 or 3 more drones. Okay, that's it. So
Jim, when's the last time you died to 4 DTs?
Wait. So Prism destroyed the defensor advantage. Is that right?
Yeah.
Defensor advantage. So we have 7 seconds between warps. So we have again our disadvantage.
Yep.
So I think it's pretty good. Also, Terran and Zerg could defend with queens. These zealots, these 20 zealots warping in your base, and I think it's better. So they are investing money now to make a harass, to make damage. So yeah, I think it's pretty fair. Also, it's not a big change. It's so small. They need to nerf at least 2 range. At least. It's too much. It's too much. They are picking the Immortals or the Archons from the other game. Yeah, they are.
Even Scarlet told me that this change was insane.
Ridiculous, Brandon. You are one of the most abuser of NA with the prisms. I mean, your macro is so good, but yeah, you are an abuser, man.
It is interesting that most people were talking about the range of the Warp Prism pickup. So Puck, you are holding a red and blue pill. One is this change, the other is -1 or 2 to the pickup range on the Warp Prism. Which one would you do?
-1 pickup range.
Yeah?
On top of like the recall nerf. I think that's pretty significant. Because like as long as like the Terran changes still go through, like the biggest issue is PvT, not necessarily PvZ. If anything, I'd say Protoss has more issues versus Zerg than the other way around. Like the change is, I think, to address Protoss all-ins, but like you address the Protoss all-ins, then Protoss dies late game anyways. So
yeah. And you said they're still going to all-in, I guess, just not with a Warp Prism, probably.
Yeah.
Well, now if it's the same as a Pylon, why would you get your Robo? I mean, it's going to slow you down some, but it seems like really a PvZ-centric thing. I don't think it affects PvT anywhere near as much. Like PvT, you can actually get that upgrade reasonably, right? Whereas PvZ, not many people actually get the support base. So it's like, if you can't do any of these early pushes, it's pushing the game further and further in, and maybe then suddenly here we are, we're in the Lingbane Hydra meta again. Okay, that was fun. let's go back there.
Yeah.
Not that these immortal pushes are the greatest meta either, but we've definitely seen a reduction in them, and Zerg's holding them better. So this feels over the top, I think. It doesn't need to be this drastic.
So Jason, one of the things Puck just said is that, and of course every Terran player has lamented this, but the Warp Prism flies in your base, warps in 35 Zealots, and then you're in trouble. That seems to be probably a sideshow, hilarious, like, clown act if it happens now, because there's 11 seconds of you just pummeling your own butthole.
You should have never died to that, yeah. That would be...
Yeah, in the recent GSO, we saw Kier versus Stats, and many times Stats got a Warp Prism into Kier's main, and Kier managed it just fine. If anything, I'd even argue that Kier could have managed it even a little bit better, but he still ended up winning the game anyways.
So Jace, just play like here. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, this is another one of those things. Like, who is asking for this? Like, isn't like I don't play PvZ a lot, but wasn't the problem PvZ like juggling immortals with the War Prism? Wasn't that the thing that Zergs were complaining about the most? So why are we going for a delay in warping instead of a pickup range nerf? And in TVP as well, it's like it doesn't seem like it's going to help sure with a lot of Protoss all-ins when they warp 20 adepts in my main base at the start, but it doesn't seem like it's addressing the issue too much. And I have a question for Puck, like in regards to PvP. Like I've watched a lot of PvP and I see the same like juggling of Archons and Immortals. Like what effect would this change have on that matchup? Would it make it better?
It would eliminate the 3-gate robo build completely. You'd probably see a lot of Phoenix versus Phoenix again. Maybe
Right.
some big zapper openings. But it's a pretty massive nerf to robo openings, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes our life easier. If they want that upgrade, they got to get the extra building, which could screw up with a lot of builds. But again, I don't see it being too much of a big deal. Like I already put a Viking on patrol on my main base and a sensor tower, and I'm good against War Prisms. So it's not something like if you lose to a War Prism, like you severely messed up, I think.
Yeah.
With this change, when the Prism comes in to warp in, do you actually have time to build a turret underneath it and stop it, or no?
No,
I believe close. Turrets take 13.67% of a second to build. So it's yes.
One Viking can kill the War Prism before any units warp in with like 5 or 6 seconds to spare, if it catches it as it's flying in.
Yeah,
my God.
So like it would completely destroy any amount of warp ins in the early game. Obviously, once they get the upgrade, it's perfectly fine, back to normal. But again, who is asking for this change? Doesn't seem to address any of the issues. Like the third base and the economy seems to be the thing that most people complain about in TVP, and I don't see how the Warp Prism would affect that.
Okay, well,
it seems like the recall is for PVT and the Prism is for PVZ.
Yeah, I agree.
What it feels like.
Yep.
And then both of them are for the GSL, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
Get Maru back on the top there.
Yeah, it was really boring having someone that wasn't Maru winning GSL.
So I'll read to give a fair shake. They obviously have commentary here, and a lot of you have read this, but I'll just read it real quick. Currently, the discourse surrounding ZVP seems to center primarily around the number of powerful early game Protoss openings. Not only does Protoss have a high number of tech options, they also have many variations of Immortal all-ins that require different responses. Though we believe all these attacks to be theoretically defendable, the margin of error for the defender might be too low. There are a few ways to address this, such as improving Zerg early game scouting or weakening some Protoss early game options. For the first iteration of the testing tab, however, we'd like to try a more experimental change intended to reinforce the concept of Defender's Advantage in all Protoss matchups. Defender's Advantage is a tricky thing to balance in an RTS, as shifting it too much in favor of the attacker creates overly aggressive games. Meanwhile, shifting it too much in favor of the defender results in more turtle situations. Currently, we believe in PvZ is in a state where Defender's Advantage is not sufficient for the Zerg player in the early game, when scouting can often be limited to a Zergling running into the Protoss army and exiting their base because of the short response time of Protoss' fast warp-in mechanic. The sum of Zerg's Defender's advantages at that point may not be enough. I think every hatchery should just come with like a free queen that spawns every like 60 seconds. I don't know what the big issue is here. Another example of low Defender's advantage is the PvP matchup, where both sides to have access to similar reinforcement time with gateway units, while the Defender has better access to Stargate and robotic unit reinforcements. Gateway's units have become more powerful over time, and thus better equipped to deal with low numbers of high-tech units. We feel this can inhibit players from feeling safe enough to invest in establishing more bases over more units. With these changes, we believe games are more likely to pass the 3-base mark in robotics. Bay-based play could become more common. All right, I'm done reading. PvP is a little silly right now. I will say that, right? Like it's a lot of like, surprise! It was 6 gateways, and I just warp in 3 waves of adepts on top of my 2 immortals, and that's the all-in, right?
That is PvP in a nutshell.
Yeah, which is pretty shitty. So I don't mind approaching balance on that. I think the conversation now enters into the overall picture. There's a lot of comments, and I will just say this is like a moderating tone. Probably not all of these will go through, right? Or at least if they do, there'll be some iterations on the timings and stuff. It feels like we're pretty okay with the stem one. And then, not to put words in your guys' mouth, but it feels like a few of these changes need to happen, but all of them together would be pretty overwhelming for the Protoss players, right? Jim?
Yeah.
I'm happy with the changes, to be honest. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm okay. I want more nerf to Protoss, but it's the start. It's the start.
It's a start.
More
Jim
than
Rising
this.
says this
Yeah,
because
Blizzard says it's 15. They will announce another changes.
90% of Jim's games
Yeah,
are versus me,
so-
ABC, and he has maybe like a 20.
It's my worst matchup, Brandon. It's my worst matchup. And
I am your worst matchup.
and every time I watch a tournament, all I see it's several winning and the gods winning and Jim Rising losing. So
Yeah.
winning a patch balance for mortal people like me. That's it. Nothing more to say. Not for gods, for people like me,
Yeah.
like tier 3 players.
The lowly 6.2k MMR guys out there that are just trying to struggle to
Yeah.
find their way out there. Well, yeah, let's bounce it around. Jason, the overall picture as a Terran player, obviously, like the Zerg changes really don't affect you at all. So it's mostly the TVP matchup. Does this begin to scratch the itch? I know that you had just said that it's economy and third base timing. Is it bothering you that they're not addressing that at all? Because it would be weird for this patch to be this, and then they're like, just kidding, actually, mule decrease time or something, and then also...
Well, yeah, no, I think that's what most people were expecting was some kind of like economy nerf or buff, like a chrono nerf of some sort. It doesn't feel like it's addressing the whole economy situation. Like by buffing Stim and making it so they can't counterattack with War Prisms in the early game, all that's going to do is make the 2-base all-in that everybody is doing every single game right now that much stronger. And they're just going to keep doing it and doing it more because they just want to win games, right? That doesn't really accomplish anything. Again, like you said, there is another set of changes coming, I think on like Monday or Tuesday. So I don't want to say anything too bad. And the Stim change itself needs to be played with. For all I know, like Mario's going to come up with the sickest 3-1-1 timing anybody's ever seen, and it's going to cancel every Protoss third base ever, and it just fixes the economy. So, yeah, it needs time.
Okay. And then, Puck, this is your chance. If they all go through, how sad is the next Puck stream on Wednesday or something like that? Like, is it just how bad it would be?
I mean, I usually go Robo Bay pretty often and get more Prism speed anyways, just for the fun of it. So it doesn't really affect me too much, but I know my Protoss brethren probably all retire and switch to Zerg. It's what I foresee.
Be that bad, huh?
It'll be pretty bad.
Okay. Well, if anybody... Dan, do you have anything, or are we good?
I mean, I think it's a little bit over the top, this complete list, as far as the nerfs to Protoss. And I find it also interesting, like, you know, people can complain about Protoss as much as they want. It's the most frustrating race to play against. I understand that. But really, it's just the Korean Protosses that are showing that type of strength. Protoss is not dominating Europe or NA. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
It's just not true. So.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on this. I think we're going to be missing Dan for next Pylon show, but we'll probably still have an episode. And if there are changes proposed or talked about, we'll be sure to get some incredible people on there to talk about it again. But thank you guys for that discussion. We'll move it along to the next topic here, which I believe is thoughts on the voting system for NationWars, something that comes up, it feels like every year, this wonderful tournament. So for those of our audience that perhaps doesn't know what the NationWars is, it is something put on by O Gaming. Those are the French people. And it is a NationWars tournament where 3 players represent kind of the big prominent countries, and they do battle. And we've had some really great tournaments, usually with an offline final in France, where Korea inevitably wins everything and takes it. Except for that one year Marine Lord, I think, was able to face them at like 3 a.m. their time or something like that and knocked them out. It was pretty sick. But yeah, this is a topic submitted by Jason. So Jason, what were your thoughts?
Well, yeah, like I see this every year on Reddit where it's the same discussion because, you know, half the community gets mad because Nathanius gets more votes than Jon Snow because Nathanius, you know, is more entertaining. And Jon Snow's the better player, so some people think he should play, some people think Nathaniel should play. Personally, I think if 2,000 people vote for one person and 200 people vote for another person, the one with 2,000 votes should play, because that's going to generate the most hype. It's going to generate the most viewers. It's going to make the tournament more fun to watch. And I just disagree heavily with, it should be the player who's better at the game. Should be whoever makes the tournament more fun to watch.
And just to get us up to date on the conversation, have they changed that for this year, or is it a straight voting system again, just whoever gets the most?
I think it's the same. I
Anyone
haven't read
know?
anything otherwise.
Yeah. So if you're like GM, basically, you can register for your country.
You have to be GM, you register, and then people vote for you, right?
Yes, I believe that's exactly what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna, and I'll ask the chat to please remain calm and be mature about this. But I think it's not even Nathanius that's the most controversial thing that happened. It was Avilo getting voted in for Team USA, right? This is it's the same kind of situation where a lot of our pro gamers, be it your Puck or Neve or something like that, they're really, really fantastic players, but they don't spend that much time on social media trying to garner a big reputation or a big following. So whenever one of the streamers who does that for their profession kind of aggressively goes after it, it's a pretty, like Nathanius got voted in easily, and Avilo got voted in easily. Like it was not even controversial. He just straight up won the vote. So I think that's where the topic is interesting, because a voting system, and I've heard Funka labor over this, because ideally they want the best team while also getting the most hype. And it is kind of funny, because there's countries that absolutely do that, right? Like, there was no troll vote for Germany. There was no troll vote for Poland. They had their 3 best players, pretty inarguably, or at least very close to it. But it does seem to be USA that each year has just enough shitty people voting that they somehow manage to vote in an absolute silly vote, right? How did that happen in the United States?
I think it's mostly Europeans trying to push the meme agenda of electing.
Are you blaming the Europeans? Is that real?
I was at the Korean house at the time, and they were all trying to garnish this whole little hype thing. All those Europeans. I think Lambo was one of the worst about it. Wanting a Villa in there.
It kind of sounds like Lambo. I don't know. I think it's tough, right? Because there's not really a good answer. And I know, like I said, they made it GM, but that wasn't the issue, right? Nate and Avilo are both GM players. Done. Mm-hmm. Do you move away from the voting system entirely? And then what do you do?
Do you think making it so that you can only vote once per person would change that?
Probably not, right? I think it would still be streamers that could win.
Well, the thing is, the thing about having a streamer is if I stream every single day and I tell my viewership to vote for me every single day, then I get that on repeat. But all the one person that isn't a streamer has to do is get everybody to do it once. That's it. Makes it easier.
Yeah, I could see that helping, actually. It makes sense. But it really is just kind of a question. I remember this was such a big deal last year about, do you want this to be something that the fans are excited about, like the kind of the hype behind it, or are you just looking for the best players? And it's sad for America, because American can field a very strong lineup because there are very strong players, but it also has a bunch of the most popular streamers, whereas these other countries don't really. Who's the most popular streamer in Germany?
Hero Marine. Next question.
There you go. See, that's we don't have that type of thing in America, right? So it's a country with a giant population, and it kind of makes it weird, because then you can't really expect NA to necessarily do well, because it's so hard to get the optimal team.
Yeah.
Because it also has so many entertainers. So
I think it'd be pretty hype if you can only vote for your own countrymen. Like US picks their own roster, and
Jim, Mexico is Special Cham U, right? Am I forgetting somebody?
Yeah, and maybe this year it's Paco Mike. So I think it's like Special has his spot secured. So it's like a challenge between us.
I think you'd get over Paco Mike any day.
But these years we have been carried by Special. So it's Team Special, not Team Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What a surprise, right?
You're so humble on this show, Jim Rising. I think,
I am. Yeah, he's the best, and they carry us, and I don't think this year will be different, but I think we can make our best effort.
Okay.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. It's
Yeah.
NationWars is taking place in November, right, or October? Way out there. But Puck, what would the ideal Team USA be? Neeb, Puck,
Future.
Future?
Yeah. You can also argue me, Future, Silky, or I think I'd rate myself higher than Jon Snow. I mean, I would myself, but I think most other people would too. But Silky's pretty good, but he's under the radar. And then Future obviously is really good. Oh, Estrella. Actually, the preferred roster would probably be Need, Estrella, Future.
Look at Puck. Trying to win that humility vote. We know you're a streamer. You filthy streamer.
I think Estrella could be next Need if he put in a lot of effort.
Yeah, definitely he's good. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully it's something along those lines. And then for Team Canada, Jason, who would that be? Scarlet?
Well, I think it depends on who's able to play. Because last year, I think Masa had a passport issue and he wasn't able to sign up. And TLO lives in Toronto now. So does that mean he qualifies to play? If so, then that would be your three if they could all play. Other than that, there's Semper. I think Drunken Boy is Canadian. And
look at you guys become the mini American.
To do like a little like a group thing where we play against each other and just see who wins, and then that's the third spot. Because I think I might actually qualify for a third spot versus some of these guys, but I'd have to actually test my skill versus them.
Well, let me suggest this then, because it'll get to him. There's little sparrow goblins that'll take this to him. But Pig is an absolute slut for content. So let's just say right now, if Pig can host like a 6-person round robin Canadian battle royale with the E at the end of that, because that's your filthy British roots and French mixture in there. And then the top 3 of that, everyone votes for. We'll call it like the pig shit or something like that. I don't know what he would call it. It's always poop and vaginas and stuff like that.
We'll call it Canadian bacon.
Canadian.
He's already done something called Canadian bacon. Oh, well, that's good though. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if both TLO and Masa aren't eligible, then for sure I'd be down.
Just figure on TLO being eligible. There's something. He knew something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's moved to Canada.
He's the long play.
He was competing in WCS for North America as well. Like, he counts. I think that's full.
Yeah, I think it just have to be I think you just need a Canadian passport. I think that was the thing.
Yeah, or at least a Canadian wife or something. So he's good. He's got doubles.
Hey, TLO? Oh, wait, he is married. Never mind.
He is?
Is he?
Yeah. Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah, okay.
They were hanging out with dinosaurs. You gotta follow his Instagram, dude.
I was just saying I was free, but it's all good. No worries.
Oh, well. He's a hippie guy. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, well, that's good on that topic. Chat, of course, always let us know what you think in the Discord or perhaps on the YouTube comment section, ArtosisTV. Let's move on to the next one. This is a very exciting one, guys. People were over the moon with this. Today, they announced AlphaStar will be let loose on the ladder. You have to opt into it, but if you do, you too could be facing a robot, which is
my God,
pretty exciting stuff.
This is just I'm over the moon every time they announce anything with AlphaStar. And so just to make it clear for people that didn't get to read the whole thing or are just hearing about it, so you opt in. It's only going to be the European ladder. They're not going to let you know what you're playing against. They've done all sorts of limiters to try to make it like a human player. And at the end, when they've collected the data, they're going to release a paper on it with replays. So we don't know how much it's going to play, when it's going to play. It can play all the races and all the matchups now. And yeah, so that's kind of the lowdown on it, which is super exciting. And I feel like it's just going to make the European ladder pick up like crazy, streaming pick up like crazy. And I can't wait for there to be a bunch of people saying like, I think that was AlphaStar. And then a bunch of people acting like they're AlphaStar in the ladder. You know how many AlphaStar IDs we're going to have on there? It's going to be like a barcode.
So Dan, on that point, I want to ask you this. Do you think they're releasing on the European ladder because a robot will best be able to hide itself amongst the people that don't have humor or personality? Is that kind of why?
I'm pretty sure they said that in the press release.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it's smart to put it there because that's like kind of the most macro-oriented ladder. If you put it on NA, I mean, what is AlphaStar going to do when people are running backwards naked through a cornfield? You know what I mean?
It would be pretty hard to hide on the North American ladder.
It's like, wait a second. It didn't build 3 hatcheries in my natural, so I'm kind of wondering here. Well, I gotta say, that was one of the most, like, I took a troll question, you actually made it into something real again. Like, you're a wizard, like, you'll pull. Anyways. So, yes, I think this is it's cool and it's exciting. It's I think it will be fun. I do kind of like that they're like, we won't say what happened, but in the end, we'll release replays. So, you know what's going to happen, right? Is that everyone's going to peruse it and be like, oh, there's Hearthstone. And look at this. It beat Hearthstone. And it's going to be like, oh, Hearthstone, you lost to it. And Hearthstone will be like, against that account, I think I won 46 times. Let me check my replays. And it's going to be that back and forth forever, right?
I think that there's going to be some serious hunting. Like, people are going to start sharing a bunch of replays, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be hard to like, if you look really deeply into the replays that people pull out of games that they think they're against AlphaStar, I bet you there's going to be some sort of pattern in there where you're like, oh, okay, that's a computer, right? Like, maybe it doesn't use hotkeys, or, you know, maybe its APM stays exactly constant or within a range too cleanly or something like that. But I feel like it will get figured out what the accounts look like.
It'd be pretty hard to figure it out, though, because there's a thing that you can do in StarCraft now where you just leave immediately, and then you don't show up on SE2 en masse, you don't show up anywhere. And there's a lot of European players who specifically do it, so your account is just essentially stealth, and there's no way to just have it.
Yep, Cobra made a good point to me. I think it'll be a good...
Are they going to make the AlphaStar accounts leave leagues? Does this sound like something that the DeepMind team is going to do in their office?
Get out of here, Dan. You're trolling now.
I mean, they have TLO a part of their team consulting, don't they? I'd imagine it's a possibility.
Oh, God. But yeah, it will be fun. Like, Beastie Cutie will be analyzing replays. Pig, you know, obviously will be analyzing replays. And I think what's going to be my new what time is the Pylon show will be when people are like, it has 18 probes on its natural. So that's AlphaStar.
That's a good point. I forgot it was doing that with the 18.
Yes. Yeah. Any oversaturated base, like, that's AlphaStar. I just beat AlphaStar. Yeah. What level are you in? Silver, but, like, it has to start somewhere. Yeah, that was it.
Well, yeah, it would only work on EU because NA it was like 20 oversaturated in most games. So.
It had 6 probes on the gas. Is that the new meta? Well, it's interesting. I think it's fun. I think it's just a generically good thing. Jim, do you play on the European ladder? I don't know if I know you play in Korea sometimes.
No, I just play in NA and sometimes Korea. But I'm really excited because on NA, just Puck, me, and another 2 guys play. So if they bring AlphaStar to NA, we have another player, like 5 players playing every day. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, that's good. Hopefully someone can translate for you, but they are not bringing it to the NA. So unfortunately, it's just the 4 of you still.
Maybe the future.
I started playing Kara last night too, so now it's just Jim Rising.
AlphaStar is based out of England, though, right? DeepMind, so that kind of makes sense, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
Along those lines, but it's
the local server. It does make sense.
Yeah, they did mention that they're going to try to make it appear more human, which everyone kind of leapt to. It's going to GG, it's going to GL, but I think the other part that would have outed it immediately was that it still had it's like micro inhibitor that people, or APM people were talking about. It still went up to like 1200 and still had incredible stalker micro. I think they're supposed to be trying to limit that down to human standards, so it should be harder. Otherwise, the first time you face someone that's like moving at inhuman speeds, it's either a hacker or it's AlphaStar.
Well, question: what if I pause? Does he just like BM on pause eventually, or what happens there?
That's a great question.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god! Like, they're probably running it on like some expensive computer. What if you just pause?
Yeah. And then here's the question: what human do they base that response off of? Because if it's Todd, he unpauses and says "fuck you." But if they base it off of a Muslim, he waits 5 minutes while quietly, passive-aggressively complaining to his stream. So I don't know which human we base this off of. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
I love you,
think
Ben, by the way.
we should just start testing that. Everyone start pausing your games on Europe.
Oh my god.
And then we can have like a little code that we all type to each other where it's like, it's just like this gibberish, like this copy paste thing that you like type in and then your opponent types in, then you see you're both humans and you unpause the game. Right?
Did you guys
like
break
one
the
of those
game
codes
before it
at
even
Thor.
started? Is that what you just did?
You could do this. But
Everyone.
the thing is, you know that people are going to troll as AlphaStar. And they're just going to like act like there are
hundreds.
Like, that's who they are.
Yeah. It's going to be... European Ladder's about to get a taste of the NA, which is pretty delicious, actually. I'm going to be watching the streams. Okay, so that's it for the AlphaStar. It's exciting and fun, and we'll, of course, joking aside, it's great. It's really cool. And it's actually, it's been kind of quiet on the AlphaStar front, so this is an exciting thing to hear. And then as the year progresses, the big plan is still to get it to a place where it does battle with Serral at some level, you know?
If it gets that good, I think it'll, like, if it starts playing at high GM, that's where you're going to be able to figure out that it's really playing right away, right? Because it's going to be hard to hide at that point. But God, that would be so exciting.
We'll see.
Imagine that.
It looked really good in those games against, you know, Mana and those guys, but it was also cheating. So they're trying to get it to be a replication of a human playing the game, and we'll see what happens. Next topic is WCS Summer. Real quick, we got that coming up. People are already traveling to it. It is in Kiev, which is spelled Kiev. I was told that by the entire nation of Ukraine. And it's going to be great. It's this coming weekend. So got there on the screen some broadcast days. Jim, have you set aside your entire weekend to not stream, because that would be disrespectful, but to watch every single minute of this tournament?
Yeah, but it's too early for Mexico. So when I waking up, the tournament is finishing. But we are expecting a great match because there are a lot of good people at the stage 1. So people is investing their money to fly and to participate here. And I'm seeing the groups.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of good people eliminated at the group stage 1, and it's pretty sad. But yeah, and the group stage 3 will be amazing with great names.
Yeah. I think we're going to try to pull up the groups right now and take a look at this. I like that you took us there. Interesting. Okay, so there's the groups. We don't need to go through all of this and talk all about it. But does any group leap out at any of you guys? Like Jim was talking about, some good players to be eliminated. By the way, do we know format-wise? Or is it doing that thing where you lose but you still got more to go?
Yeah, it's the 2 Kiev tournaments are the same, right? So they'll have the knockout bracket there. It's the DreamHack Montreal is going to go back to the older format.
Puck. Okay, so it's the same format. That's great. That's a lot of games. But Puck, there's your boy Estrella in a group with Denver, Little Cannon, and Narazim. Does he get top 2?
I'd say he should definitely get first.
He's what?
Yeah, I think that most of these groups, like, it's group stage 1, right? So, I mean, there's obviously some very good players in there, but, like, as far as name players, it feels like only group K is Clem, Eric, and Stefano, right? And that's one where I could see, you know, 3 players that really could battle for those 2 spots. But
it's definitely possible for Denver to beat Austria, but I'd have a hard time imagining that Willie Cannon or Denver would beat him in this series, given that it is probably Austria's first time like traveling so far for a tournament. I don't think he's ever done international travel and immediately having a big tournament, so inexperience is definitely not in his favor. But
yeah, that is always the challenge. Our NA warriors, when they finally qualify for these overseas tournaments, it's like adjusting to that is super hard. Been a lot of like home straight cups with your novelty American, and they don't do very well because it's actually really hard to play jet lagged. Dan, what's your wild prediction for this? I mean, Serral wins, but who takes like top 5?
I'm still on Team Marine Lord. I feel like waiting for his really big breakout performance. I think his play has been awesome. I've really enjoyed Clem's play lately as well.
Okay.
yeah, those are kind of the guys that I'm gonna be keeping an extra eye on.
All right, Jim. There's your boy Cham in a group with Ziggy, the Polish Terror, Happy Joe,
Yeah,
and Burning.
Uh,
You win that?
I think Chan will take first place in his group, at
Yeah.
least this group stage. He lost to Hellraiser, the last WCS. Cham lost to Hellraiser. It's the timing pushes right now in CVP. It's pretty strong, and Cham wasn't able to defend. But it's only Terran and one Protoss that this Papillo. I think in the worst case that he loses versus Papillo, he could be Ziggy and Burning without problem. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. We'll be watching that very closely. The last one was fantastic. I think we the Pylon show before that, we were like, we have all these questions and stuff, and honestly, Star Ladder and that tournament kicked it. They nailed it out of the park. It was great. So there was like a couple technical snafus, but what tournament hasn't had that? And this one should only be better. So hopefully you guys in the chat are all excited about it. I think it starts. Gosh, guys, I know we just had on screen. Is it Friday? Or yeah, no, because rehearsals are tomorrow, so it starts Friday, I believe. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
So make sure and watch that and check it out. Last
Good weekend of
topic.
StarCraft.
What's that?
Good weekend of StarCraft.
It's a good weekend of StarCraft, Dan. We'll get to your advertisements in a minute. Last thing before we send off Jim, I think he's got to head out here. But love to have his thoughts on this. We did have Home Story Cup XIX take place. That's number 19 for those of you that cannot read Roman numerals. And it was a good one, as is always the case, of course. They had the hot summer one in the basement of Take's dungeon. And Sarah was able to repeat, spoiler alert, but honestly, if you're upset about that, I don't care. But it was a great tournament. Did you guys watch that? Jason, were you able to catch Home Story Cup 19?
Got a bit of it. I really enjoyed was it Rainer's casting? There was like a whole couch of Zergs at one point, and I was just on the floor dying. It was so funny. But yeah, I mean, Cyril obviously won. He looked like he was dying of heat in that last series.
Yeah.
So I felt for him, and he still pulled through, so well done to him.
Yeah, I was able to murder through there. Puck, were you able to watch Home Story Cup? Is that something you do?
I have a lot of replays that I still want to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always impressive.
I few games.
What's that, Dan?
I was going to say I'm still going through some, but definitely got to catch a big chunk. Cyril TY at the end, I thought that was just awesome. What a nice match. What a good way to end it. And I actually woke up and that was still going on. I was like, oh God, yes. And Cyril just continues to amaze. This kid. I wish he would come over and play GSL. This is like the thing I need before I die is Cyril playing GSL.
Yeah, and it's funny too watching Home Story Cup because Cyril becomes more and more human and comfortable with everything. Like they kept having him for interviews, which in the past it looked like it was like literally pulling teeth, but now he's like, yeah, what's up? Like, yeah, you just 3-1 TY. How'd that feel? I was like, oh, that's what expected. And with anybody else, you'd be like, that arrogant prick. But with Sarah, you're like, oh, he's so smart. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But it's a great tournament, and a lot of laughs were had. I wasn't able to make it to this one, unfortunately, but I watched a lot of it myself as well. It was great. I think one of the kind of, would you call it a shocking result? Was it this one? Did Showtime go to this? He did, right?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I thought he did. I just remember it was either this or WCS or maybe both.
Yeah, he got 6th in Group C.
That's what it is. And he tweeted afterwards and was just like, I don't think I can do it anymore. He's having a real tough time. So I wanted to kind of, not segue, but the minor possession happening in Puck's house. It's fine. Showtime is struggling, and he did qualify and will be at WCS Summer this weekend. So that's kind of a story to watch because it's been an up and down thing for him. Like last year was disappointing by his standards. This year started off really good. He was beating everybody but Cyril or like a Rainer. But now that last Home Story Cup in his own backyard, he's been struggling.
Well, I'm sorry. I want to say something about Sarah.
Yeah.
I think Sarah, like 1 year ago, was so far away from the Koreans, but right now, Koreans are getting closer to him. I don't know if you guys realize that. Koreans are closer to him. Like he was able to beat Maru and a lot of people, good people. and right now the scores are closer. So maybe Sterile could lose in the GSL versus the world. I think Koreans are getting closer. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
It's an entirely different setting. Like in GSL, you prepare a lot of time for your opponent. So,
but it's all kill. I mean the region matchup, not the tournament. It's both things, right?
Well, just take what Jim said and distill it as a statement. He's saying that this year it feels like the Koreans are closer to Seral, like the series are closer, and I would tend to agree, right? Like you went from flat out losing a few series earlier in the year and not winning those tournaments, to TY taking 3 games out of 7 on him in this final. Or do you guys disagree? It's okay to disagree too.
Well, that final itself, Seral started 1-0, so that was actually 3-3 in the actual final for actual games. But he did 3-1 TY in the previous series, so he definitely showed he outplayed TY. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Innovation really go toe-to-toe with him. We've seen TY do it now. Yeah, I mean, I think that Seral is probably overall like the best player in the world, but not by a huge margin. And even last year, Stats was so close to taking him down.
Seral lost 2-0 versus Stats in Home Story Cup as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. In group stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
Not after these changes go through, my dude. Don't you worry. Jason, as probably the biggest Seral fanboy here, are you concerned with the Koreans taking some maps off our hero and legend?
I mean, as long as Protoss or Zerg keep winning, that's fine, because the balance patch is clearly in a state of testing right now. So I don't want to skew anything that would ruin the whole Protoss nerf coming. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like you brought up Showtime and his kind of lack of results and his depressing tweet and everything. And I mean, if you look at the tournament again, it's only Zest and Stats doing actually well, right?
Trap.
Well, I'm saying in this tournament.
Here.
That we're talking about. Yeah. Just point out, you're right. It's like Hearthstone and DNS and Hellraiser squeezed through their groups and then didn't really put up too much of a fight. Hearthstone won a PVT and that's about it. And Thermal kind of claimed to not be in great shape for that tournament and happy with his results, even though it wasn't that far. But then, like, basically none of them won maps. So I just would love to point that out again. The Korean Protosses are. I mean, Zest and Stats did totally fine in the tournament. Zest getting 3rd place, so not bad.
Not bad. The most handsome guy in StarCraft. Well, that's going to do it for our main topics. And at this time, we want to give Jim the chance to leave. Jim, thank you so much for coming on. And again, I know that an all-English show is not the easiest thing, but I thought you did great. Many laughs were had, and I think you represented the Zerg very well. So is there anywhere people can follow you, anything you're doing in the future, your stream schedule, anything like that you want to share? Please do.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. And you can follow me on my stream. I don't speak English, but if you have any question, I can speak English, answer your things. And yeah, thanks so much. I love to talk about balance with people like Puck and you guys that are experts. I really like it. I enjoy it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and I'm being told by our producer that we will share that Taco Cup picture, so don't you worry. It'll be a part of this week in StarCraft. But Jim, thank you so much for coming on. Make sure everyone follow him and check out his stream. It's a lot of good Zerg games, usually against Puck. All right, Jim. Adios. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you later, man.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks. But Puck and Jason, you guys aren't going anywhere. You're going to be
here.
You are. There's a Q&A section at the end of this that has your names attached to it. I can feel.
Hold up, we got rid of the Zerg. Can we go back to the balance thing now? let's one more time.
No, well, we'll have inbuilt balance pointing here. I'm just trying to buy time for Matt to change pictures on the fly. And Puck, are you safe, by the way? I was worried there for a second.
Yeah, I'm safe.
Okay.
There's definitely chainsaws being thrown around.
Isn't it like where you're at? Isn't it 9 p.m.?
Yeah, it is.
It's prime chainsaw.
So That's what I'm saying. Is like, is this nighttime chainsawing?
I do live in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, we own a chainsaw.
It's okay to own a chainsaw. I just feel like at night you don't chainsaw shit, right? Like,
no, it's North Dakota.
Yeah.
Well, you got a chainsaw when you got a chainsaw, Jeff.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do?
You're gonna wait till the next day? No, it's gonna grow.
Yeah. God. It's just gonna be harder the next day.
I was wrong, guys. I get it. I lived in a world where chainsawing was appropriate at certain times. You guys don't have such restraints. But guess what? We bought just enough time that we can now go. Yeah, there it is. Okay,
People
so everybody
are still letting off fireworks at like 4 a.m. So that's a thing.
Yeah. People light fireworks here in Oakland every day. It's crazy.
Nice. I wonder what kind of fireworks those are.
Not the safe kind. Let's do a quick This Week in StarCraft, but we did not have a show last week, so there's a lot of stuff. So this will be Dan's greatest challenge yet, just outside of raising 4 kids and a family.
No, this is harder for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it real fast. All right. The Banshee tournament. Scarlet won number 23 over QB 3-0. But for some sad news, they've kind of run out of funding. And tournament number 7 is going to be the last tournament, at least for the foreseeable future. Definitely check it out. The Banshees on Challenge and the Banshees _SC2 on
Please do.
Twitter.
And a quick on that, if not for the fact that we want to talk about balance, I was going to definitely ask Zombie to be on this show, but maybe she can be on next week or something like that. But love to shine a light on that. It's a great tournament. It's awesome that she helps put that on, and we want to get some attention to it.
Totally. It's done a great job with that many tournaments. It's really been a very steady tournament throughout. All right, moving on. Alpha SC2 Team League Pro Division. They do have the bracket all set up. July 6th, I believe it already started. So check that out, alpha.tl/Africa TV Cup. They also have their semi-pro and amateur divisions, both for NA and EU, if you're interested in all this stuff. The Alpha team is doing just so much StarCraft stuff, mostly over on Africa TV. But again, check it out, alpha.tl/Africa TV Cup. Okay, the Sentimiento Latino, number 60, Ryu defeated Paco Mike. And number 61, we played on July 13th. This is for LATAM residents only. So if you are down there, definitely give it a try. Unless you're Cham, Kelliger, or Special, because they are banned for getting too far in tournaments like WCS. The Taco Cup, which we kind of mentioned and showed on the screen already. We had Special taking out Cham 3-1 with actually quite a large prize pool. And that was organized by Jim Rising. So cheers to him, and thanks for putting that on. Yeah, it just happened last week. It was on Jim Rising's stream, so you can definitely check that out on his channel.
Puck losing to Sue there. That's crazy.
Yeah, who would imagine a Protoss player losing to a Zerg these days? Can't wait for the next patch and I get my buff carriers.
Yeah, the 2 seconds is going to help a lot.
That was too funny. That was the thing that he's like, no. All right, the Liga Cubana de StarCraft 2. This is a Cuban tournament going on. Flash Me took out to Xavier 3-2 in the finals. The Corporate Esports Association Season 1. This feels a lot like that thing that Day 9 was running, the After Hours StarCraft thing. Yeah. And they have just some awesome team names in here. Alexa 12 Pool ended up winning in the finals. Some of these names are so awesome. Look at that. Microsoft Macro Hard. It's like
Amazon Pain really... Forest.
Yeah. Amazing team names. But if you are interested in this type of thing, you can learn more at cea.gg. All right, the Clash StarCraft 2 Invitational. The online phase is complete. They're going to have the finals offline in mid-July. Looks like we're going to have 2 Zergs and 2 Protosses there. No Terrans quite making it through. Rainer, Lambo, Petit Drogo, and Harsum. I believe the casters for that final will be Rotterdam and De Muslim, but I'm sure they'll announce more in the future.
Yeah.
Check that out on Clash's channel. All right, the Master Swan Open, Sea Duckling Open. Chill All Day defeated Light 3-2 in the Master Swan Open number 21. And Starduck defeated Papa Panda 3-2 in the Sea Duckling Open 64. It's plays on Fridays, so check it out at twitch.tv/cranky_ducklings. They also have a new thing called the Oceanic Pond League by the same organization. And this is something for an amateur team league for Platinum, Diamond, and Masters 2 by Cranky Ducklings. That's on Tuesdays, so you can check that out on the Team Liquid thread. Again, don't forget, if you're interested in any of this stuff, just check out our show notes, which are everywhere that you get to watch or listen to this. All right, Olima League. Number 159 was Sue 3-2 over Dream. Number 160 was Zest 3-2 over Stats. And the June finals had Cure 4-0 over Stats. So pretty awesome results coming in. Of course, if you're interested, check out the Olima League. Zombie Grub's been casting it, Maynard as well. I believe Wardy casts it from time to time also. Number 161 plays on July 16th. And definitely check them out. Very awesome tournament. All right, the National Strength Competition in Yangzhou, China. A very hard to translate news piece, but Wang Runkong from Shenyang, a young player, was able to end up winning it. I believe he's a Terran player. Yeah, there's a lot of tournaments coming out of China right now. A little bit hard to keep track of them all and get those translations done, but we do our best. So if you're interested and you speak Chinese especially, go check that out. The ANZ SEA Pro League Season 4 has started on July 5th, about a week ago. 8 teams are battling, rather. And you can check that out on the Blizzard ANZ channel, I do believe. All right, ProBots Season 2, done by ESChamp at eschamp.com. It's a tournament for a bunch of the bots in StarCraft 2. If you're interested with that, check it out, twitch.tv/ESChamp. The SC2 Blazing Series Season 2. This is the most drawn-out group stage of all time.
Yep.
It's taken about a month for 4 groups. 24th of June is when we did the first group. And 11 days from now, Group A is going to be done. So when that's done, though, it's going to be an exciting tournament. Parting, Miomaka, Polt, McSed, Cure, and Nice have already all made it through. Group A looks like Innovation going to be a huge favorite. We'll see who joins them then. All right, the Base Trade TV Momentum Cup. Team North America beat Team Europe.
Wow.
How do we all feel about that?
Well, look at Team North America.
Yeah. So these teams were based off the winners of the Momentum Cups, which were not necessarily from the region that the Momentum Cups were played in. So as you might see here, Dream crushed. He is a Korean player who is in GSL Code S, but
let us not underestimate the size of the North American region.
That's it's
It
a
goes all
big
the way
one.
to Australia, dude.
Yeah,
yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
it is
you guys
a big
got
one.
some amazing GSL players in there as well. All right, well, congrats to that. If you're interested in Momentum Cup, that should be over on Base Trade TV. All right, the DSCL, the Dutch StarCraft 2 League Nationals, are continuing their qualifiers, in which Uthermal keeps playing his off race and just barely not making it to the top. They're continuing that forward. Check it out on twitch.tv/DSC League. All right, Masters Cup number 119. Another tournament won by Cure. He's really been killing it lately. Goes 3-1 over Armani in the finals there. If you're interested, check out oscesports.com. All right, the Assembly Summer 2019. This is a WCS tournament that we've talked about a little bit. They had a bunch of qualifiers, and they also have some invites as well. So they haven't announced all the invites yet, but something that I found interesting, the America's Server qualifier had one person from the region make it through in Massa. Other than that, we had a few Europeans in Drogo, Ours, Snoot, and Sort of, and then some Koreans with Bomber, Tasia, and Armani.
He's also the only North American to sign up for the qualifier.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
And he made it through. So what does that tell us? Probably every American that signed up.
100% of us made it through, guys.
100% would be through.
Pretty crazy. Jeff, you should sign up for that. That would have been great.
I didn't want to break the numbers.
StarCraft 2 Pro Gaming. And then I saw this interesting thing for the South Korean server. Time made it through. So I thought, whoa, that's a great result. And then I went and looked at the brackets. Time made it through the Korean qualifier without playing any Koreans.
No.
Yes, he did. His final qualifying match was a 2-1 over Scarlet. So
that's pretty huge.
He literally did not play against or beat any Korean players, at least.
It pays to pay
well
attention.
Korean.
Yeah, pretty much. The style matches up. She lived out there for a very long time. So yeah, very, very exciting that Assembly is going to have a WCS tournament. And yeah, we'll keep you posted as that gets closer. All right, the StarCraft 2 Platinum Heroes. This is the thing with the Platinum and I believe Diamond tournaments. They do have a Discord channel. If you're interested in all this, you can check it out on their Discord channel or twitch.tv/Creighton Olsen. All right, the NA Apprentice Tournament Season 4 with Future and Vindicta already in that top 4. Cuddlebear versus Full Heart and Asuna versus Starkiller for those other 2 spots. You can check it out on twitch.tv/SugarSC2. Wordy has hosted the map contest tournament in which Classic took it down Zest 5-1 in the finals with Rainer and Namshar both making it to the round of 4. Check it out on Wordy's Twitch channel.
3-0 over Sue.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, look at that. Takes a couple maps off Zest too. Not bad. All right. We have Idspostk Net Wars tournament. This is a Polish-only tournament, and Sol defeated Gerald 3-2 in the finals with Nurcho and Ziggy making it into that round of 4. Yeah, that's on the Net Wars 1998 Twitch channel. In Depth, the show I do with no regret. We have a couple new episodes up, number 13 and 14. How to Kill Protoss by Dark, looking at his ZVP run, and Protoss nerfs Terran buffs. We kind of went over some of the patch note stuff and specials TVP run against SOS and GSL specifically, because that was a really great run in Season 2. You can check that out on youtube.com/ArtosisTV. NationWars number 6. Well, we just talked about that a whole hell of a lot, so I won't stay on that one. Jumping forward, Alpha Pro Series show matches. Again, Alpha just putting out so much stuff. Show match number 90 was Scarlet versus Estrella, and she 5-0'd him. Ouch. Number 91, Art 5-1's Vanya. So check it out at freakatv.com/AlphaXSC2. All right, another Alpha show match series here. Nice over Vindicta 5-1. And it looks like 4 days ago, Live in Patience played, but I do not have the results for that as of yet. Oh, it got postponed a few days. Okay, so that'll be coming right up as well. All right. Also, there's been an announcement by Blizzard. If you are an aspiring caster and you want to cast some of the WCS stuff coming up, some of the open qualifiers, you can send in your applications. You have 1 more week to do it. Definitely get on top of that if that's what you want to do. All right, the IMBA Force League. This is open to Peruvian players, minus those like Ryu, who have made the top 8 in Copa America this year. It is, another one of those kind of locked regional tournaments where they get that slightly lower skill scene to play against each other. Check it out if you're from Peru. All right, from General Transmissions, Jin Air Green Wings has released a little video preview clip of a video that they're going to be putting on their YouTube channel where the Jin Air team goes and does some sporty athletic stuff. It's kind of a funny little clip where Kier discusses the fact that none of them are athletic. So I guess we just wait and see exactly how cringe and or funny this video will end up being.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Episode number 7 of the Tasteless podcast is out, this time with Wardy, who just visited South Korea.
Oh.
Tasteless sat down for an interview with him, so you can check that out. As far as I know, still no $1,000 Patreon.
Looking at you, chat.
For Tasteless. Yeah. I don't know what you guys are doing. All right. There is a new show match kind of series thing going on over in Europe called Traveling Science Man's Weekly SC2 Show Matches. And yeah, if you're interested in it, Hearthstone versus Namshar is the first best of 7. And he has all sorts of information there and a Discord channel if you want to learn more. All right, GSL videos from Frudgy. Of course, you all know Frudgy. He shows just how stupid, not funny I really am, but people think I'm funny, so that's cool. Check it out on Frudgy's YouTube channel. He has compilations of just about every day of Korean casts and a lot more too. So youtube.com/Frudgy. Also, EXE, the Epicureans, this is a big community that used to be around Wings of Liberty. They are restarting themselves and making a Discord channel in case you are looking for a community of players to play with. Check it out. There's also a LAN coming up in New York City on July 13th. If you're in the area, it's a Brood War LAN. a lot of great players from the area will be going down and hanging out. Also, WCG 2019 is coming up. Some people have won trips over to play 2 vs 2s and whatnot with the pro gamers. You see Cyan, Rainer, Maru, and Neve are all going to be there. Myself and Tasis will be over there casting it, which is why I won't be on the Pylon show next week. Sorry about that. But definitely check it out. I'll keep people updated. Cheeseadelphia is coming up July 27th through 28th, this time in Denver, Colorado. We've talked about Cheeseadelphia so much in the past. Huge amount of prize money. 2 WCS North American Challenger seeds. Going to be a great tournament. Are you guys going to this?
Mm-hmm.
Jason and Brendan?
Yeah,
Nah. Too far away from me.
Road trip.
Could you guys say everything at the same time so that I can't understand either of you a little bit more?
I'll be road tripping with Cooldown SC2.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys taking a car or go by horse? What are you doing?
We haven't figured that part out yet. So.
You bring a chainsaw, or are you gonna leave that at home? You think?
Probably won't need that
holding a
one.
chainsaw while riding a horse. Jason, are you gonna go?
I would like to, but I'm just taking so many days off over the next few months. I just need to be streaming instead, but hopefully in the future, go to another one.
That's a responsible jiggle nut right there.
Got to keep it up, that grind. All right, this week in Brood War.
Wow.
Well, the Corrupted Cup, the qualifiers are almost all done. There's one giant ladder qualification that will be finished up on July 31st. And the rest of the Polish qualifiers haven't finished quite yet.
Did you skip something, Dan?
Well, that's just a picture, right? So the actual news is below.
Oh, is it? No.
Hold on, let me check. No, it's not. Okay, well, maybe I should scroll back up then.
Scroll up there. Dan.
Yeah. The Carbot skins are out. It's called StarCraft Cartooned.
Upwards, Cobra.
Everyone on Earth was streaming it yesterday. It's super cute. It's basically all the Carbot skins and maps for Brood War. It plays the same. It's just a reskinning, and you can like change it in game. So it's very interesting. I played with it for 3 hours yesterday, and I actually felt like some of the things were easier to see in the Carbots version, if that makes sense. Like the way the Marine bounces, I was like, oh, this micro feels actually a little bit easier, to be honest. But yeah, some of the death animations are kind of funny too, where it's like, I wasn't sure if the Dragoon was dead right away, but I don't know. It's actually very interesting. I saw some players streaming it, some good ones like Terror from Peru, and he was like switching during certain parts of the game.
What?
From the skins to other skins.
Wait,
like
in game you can switch?
Yeah, you can switch in game. The same button that lets you see old graphics, I guess you can switch out. I hadn't realized this until I saw Terror do it. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But
that would break my brain.
I know, right? I'm just playing, but and then your graphics go completely different.
Was it easier for you to handle proxy zealots with the Carbot animation going?
Surprisingly, I don't think I got proxy zealoted yesterday.
Well, let me ask you this: your normal, because if you said 3 hours, then there's like probably 2 hours of pretty happy streaming, and then 1 hour of rage. Did the Carbot animation help curb that at all? Did you feel more calm?
It actually did. I actually noticed that it's harder to get angry when you die in the Carbot skins.
Yes.
So when shit starts going wrong from now on, I might switch to the Carbot skin to lose the game out with, because you look at your silly little Terran units and you're like, of course they're not winning a battle. Look at them. They're so stupid. Anyways, it's awesome. Super, super cool, guys. Definitely check that out. Very worthwhile. They also released a new announcer. Which is it's like a kids show personality that they
from China
suggested goes well with the skins. No, it's a Korean personality. I've never heard of her. I bought it. I guess I'll try it out and see what that's like. But yeah, cool stuff. Anyways, I love
that now when they announce an announcer pack, it feels like everyone else on Earth has an announcer pack and they're just finding people. It's like, this is Idris' grandfather.
Easy to make. Right, it's like you record those voices and put it on, and it's like it's cool content, right?
This is a person that did a children's show in Korea. It's like, well, what's the attachment to StarCraft? And they're like, I don't know, doesn't matter.
Well, to be honest,
are they doing it to troll Rotterdam? Do you think?
Oh my god!
It's just like everyone but Rotterdam will have an announcer pack.
Eventually, my daughter saw these StarCraft skins and said that she wanted to try. So that is the first time she's wanted to try StarCraft 1. Very exciting. Anyways, it's super cool. Okay, going back up, I guess Corrupted Cup we already mentioned quite a bit. That'll be in October. We'll keep you updated as that moves forward. The STPL Grand Finals occurred. Seoul won. White Clan got second. IRK got third, and NetWars got fourth. You can check that over on Kix SD on Twitch. Still under general transmissions, the Undermine podcast. That is the Making Computer Do Things.com podcast about the SC1 AIs. We already talked about the DeepMind stuff. There is some promotion going on from Team Liquid about giving blood. That's always a good thing to do. If you want to be a blood donor, check it out. Yeah, I guess they've teamed up with Blood Centers of America for the Heal for Real initiative.
Wow.
Healforreal.us. Okay.
Heal for Real.
Yeah.
Give your blood to Team Liquid. This make sure and read that one read that one carefully. I don't know.
Don't they say like bleed blue or something? They're not going to take that blood, sorry. All right. I think is that it?
Is that it, dude?
I think so. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
There you go. Cool.
Before we move on, Puck, your thoughts on this week in StarCraft. Just tell me how you felt.
It's a lot of StarCraft. Quite a bit of StarCraft. I think you missed something. There was another NA versus EU, Alpha X something, where North America was down like 1-6, and then Print F came back, won 6 games in a row just to lose the one final match to give it to Europe. But like, it was a very close series for Cannon Rusher.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn. Print F
Our show is it's biased against Cannon Rushers. Let me ask you
we
this.
should have Print F on. That's what we should have.
We were going to have a whole Cannon Rush episode, but then we tried to contact all the Cannon Rushers, and they live off in the woods in Montana, I think, by themselves.
I think Taudan would love to come on.
Who?
Taudan SC2. He's an avid Cannon Rusher, and he knows quite a few things.
Yeah. Let's just not do it.
I can ask all the barcode Protoss as I play on the Korean ladder because they all Cannon Rush.
Yeah. That'd be great to have them on. And then they could just yell at you in real time on the show. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for this week in StarCraft. We're a little bit out of sorts because just the order of this is a little silly. So let's just do... I think Cobra's got some clips, right? Mr. Cobra Venom.
Let me get these loaded up real quick.
You gonna load them up?
Oh, and a quick shout out to Twitch Prime members can now claim the new Narazine bundle. Commander console, skins, banners, and more. It ends on July 15th, so this is your last chance. This is the last time we can tell you about it. Twitch
we got
Prime
5 days. Yeah. It's the last chance for us to tell you about it. All right, so the first one we have is the Ballgasm. And as you would probably guess, it's Pig. So let's see what happens here.
So I'd love to see our Zerg player being a little bit more ballsy. Move forward, steal your opponent's balls. Mind control them. Shove a tentacle in. Go. Come on. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Grab him. I love that Printf's economic advantage is still just long distance mining, by the way, guys. 140 minerals a minute up against 0. He's like, that's all I need. It's more than you could. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, one of those shots did manage to get down, but that's because he let those disruptors get way too high up that ramp. He tried to shoot his own disruptors. Because they were mind controlled, they didn't do damage. So, did not quite work out. Oh! Hot damn, ball to the face. No way. So I'd love to see our Zerg player being...
That's it.
Why?
Pig's vitality is incredible, man. Cero versus Harsum, ladder highlights.
Harstem, do you play against Cero Lofton on ladder?
Yeah.
How many points do you get if you win?
I don't know.
Best answer. If you had to guess.
I don't know, maybe 50, maybe 40.
How many points does he get?
Like 3 or 4.
To ask the Marine Lord question doesn't make you feel like a baboon.
Yeah. Makes you feel real bad, I can tell you that. It's real dirty when it does happen.
Harstem, do you play against Cero Lofton on ladder?
Pretty good.
I love the honesty.
Nero being Nero.
Oh, man, he's not stepping on him.
Oh. Oh, a little bit further. Bit further.
The worst part is they burrowed those right in front of him.
Oh my god. Jeez,
Oh
dude.
my god. Whoa. Can you warn me?
Wow.
Before we watch
Save for Terra. Hang on, Cobra, before we go away. Go back to the beginning of this clip, though. I want people to watch. This is North American Ladder. Watch what happens. Go to the beginning
And also,
of the clip.
while you're watching this again, listen to the power of an Elgato Stream Deck with Artosis sound clips built into it. Not sponsored yet, by the way.
Oh, man,
Watch,
he's not
watch,
stepping
watch.
on him.
Oh.
He literally ran 5
Little
Bands
bit-
at the
little bit
Terran
further.
and then burrowed them.
Bit further.
Is this Juggernaut?
Oh
Jason?
my god.
God, I hope
Jeez, dude.
All right.
And our last one.
How is Jeff the talkative one? That surprises you? God, dude.
A lot of that is because of the delay. I post these in the show notes, and Jeff is seeing them real time, but the rest of the guests and Artosis, if they haven't seen them, are watching them 10 seconds behind. So there's like a delayed reaction that we have to overcome at the moment. This one is.
Dan's just got a live 10-second delay, though.
I got like
I take
3
my
seconds.
time. I'm present. I don't live in the future like you, Jeff.
This was a clip of No Regret and Dan. I think they wanted to do this specifically for the Pylon show, and they didn't know it yet.
You know what he might do? Imagine this for a second. He boosts over here and kills that Pylon. That ridiculous in-control Pylon that we have right now.
In-control Pylon?
Do you see how many buildings it's powering? It's powering like everything.
Wait, do we call it in-control Pylon?
What is it called?
That was an Artosis Pylon.
Well, it is powering a lot of buildings, so...
You're
when
right.
When it dies,
so it's
maybe
powerful as an Artosis Pylon. Once it dies, it's an in-control Pylon.
That
All right.
sounds about right.
I see.
Okay, well, that's
okay.
too
Well,
bad.
the 2-1-1 is up.
Should he had a probe there instead?
Sounds like a
I mean,
fair
it wouldn't have
compromise to
mattered.
me.
It is a
You would have known still if it was a
very
probe.
clever
and he would
take,
have had
Dan. I like
no
your
supply
humor.
block right now. So maybe, yeah, maybe he should have Artosis.
Yeah, maybe you should.
I feel like No Regret deservedly should have laughed harder than he did.
That's okay.
Look at this
I'm
picture.
underappreciated in my time, like all great artists.
What is this picture?
To make this picture, by the way, they had to Photoshop every hair follicle you've ever had in your entire life just to make that bit of hair. Incredible. Okay. Well, thank you, Cobra. Those are some fantastic clips.
Very lovely.
We already covered a lot of things. We covered
Yeah.
WCS Summer, so let's not do that. But let's do a quick rundown of what's happened. GSL, KSL, ASL, and let's get to these questions, yeah?
Cool. Which one first?
GSL Season 2, I guess. Is that
All right.
That's what's on the docket.
GSL. We are halfway through the round of 32. It's been not really upsets like last season. By now, last season, we had so many upsets that it was already crazy. But we did have, for instance, Sue lost last night, which was, a little bit of an upset. It seems like Hero is playing very well once again, which is nice because he's been a little bit out of form for a bit. We're getting through the rest of this round really, really quickly as well. Tonight, there's GSL. Saturday, there's GSL, then 2 GSL days next week. And so the whole round of 32 only taken 3 weeks this time. Yeah,
Very fast.
I think that's about
Look
it.
at that beautiful picture. Yeah, they had the Nesty Award.
The Nesty Awards, that's a good point. We're actually giving out 4 this season. It's getting kind of wild. Like the players have been so solid and so steady. And I asked if we're going to give a new award to Dark next year because he's on 18 consecutive Code S's, which is the record as far as that goes. The overall record of Code S's goes to Gumiho, though. He's been in 20 Code S's.
Holy cow.
Or maybe it was 20. Maybe it was 21 now. I think it was 20 last season. And I think Maru's at 20. So it's pretty wild. we have quite a storied history right now.
Not bad. All right, tell me about the KSL.
Well, KSL's over, so we already did that one. ASL though is most certainly going on, and it's kind of crazy where we're at in ASL, right? So it's a very exciting season. I kind of talked about a lot last time. This is Sulky's last season. In fact, he can't win the tournament because he's going to the military in August.
Oh God!
So he actually got out of his group the other day, and he'll be playing the round of 16. If he wins the round of 16, he's really going to screw the tournament up. And I don't know what we're going to do because he won't be able to play his round of 8 match. So I mean, there's no rule against him playing, I guess. But that's kind of a funny thing to look at. We've had a lot of the new players come and play and not really do super well. Flash got 2nd place in his group, which is big news. And Jadong actually lost. Jadong, he went to the winner's match of his group and lost to an amateur player who's made it into ASL twice now, but was never really a pro. Very, very strong, aggressive Zerg player in Zealot. And then Snow beat him in the final match. So it's kind of really sad, right? Because every tournament right now, we're just like, Flash and Jadong are going to be going to the military. Both of them have had some wrist issues as well. So you never know when you're going to see them last.
Maybe never.
So yeah, it's possible. So yeah, we're gonna do the next group on Sunday and then Tuesday, and then we are all set with the round of 24.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. It says Africa Challenger Star League. Is there something on that?
Nope, that finished up as well. That was the one that Soma won that gave him a seed into a finals of an ASL qualifier and whatnot.
All right. And guys, I am very excited to announce we're finally into the Q&A period, which should be very challenging with Puck playing a ladder game at the same time. But I'm going to throw every question to him. And he's a Protoss player, so he can multitask, right? So let's... Problem. Oh, yeah, and then Cobra wants you to submit more clips. There you go.
This wonderful Photoshop was done by Alexander. Apparently, myself and Zest are inside of Pacific Rim now.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was a Pacific Rim picture. I love it.
One of Artosis's favorite movies.
Yeah. That's right. It's a great movie.
Agreed. Here's our questions. Take it away.
All right. Wurzag. Really like the movie questions, so here would be my picks where you can tell me that I'm wrong. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Matrix. To my question, what is the absolute worst movie you have ever seen in your opinion? Puck, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Can it be like a series?
Absolutely.
Okay, so like the most recent Black Mirror, I forget which one it was, but it's the one where there's a social media and this guy takes this employee hostage in hopes of like trying to send a message across to the CEO.
Worst ever.
It was the worst ever. I had much higher expectations. Just the expectations for Black Mirror, and then they kind of felt like they ran dry.
Wow. Okay. But did you like Striking Vipers?
Ooh, which one was that?
You know which one that was.
Oh, yeah.
The one about the two guys having sex inside a video game.
That was a bit interesting. I did like the new season of Stranger Things, so that was good.
Yeah. Now, Jigglenut, I'm assuming you've watched a lot of bad movies in your day. If you could just break it down to just one, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Is it okay if I've only watched 2 minutes of the movie?
Yeah.
It's probably a tie between Emoji Movie and Avatar.
You
actually went to Emoji Movie?
Well, 2 minutes of it.
I can't believe you're saying Avatar, though. You didn't see that in theaters, right? For sure.
Not like the blue guy Avatar.
Oh,
one, like,
Earthbender and all that shit.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people think that didn't even happen. Dan, I'm ready. The worst
it's hard to say exactly which one it was. I used to actually have a short list of movies that were terrible from when I was younger, and I can't remember them. I think one was called like Dance with the Devil or something. It was just so awful. It was just, oh my God, it was bad. But more recently, basically, all the movies where they're trying to remake all the shit I loved in my childhood. All those movies are the worst movie ever made, basically. like Ninja Turtles, Transformers, those types of movies. They're butchering everything I ever loved for money. And
the first Transformers was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tell me more.
But then it got pretty bad. The worst for me is M. Night Shyamalan's Lady of the Lake, or Water or something. It's a movie where a guy literally works out the right side of his body and not the left side of his body, and in the end it becomes relevant that only half his body is strong. Lady in the Water. Yeah, it's
bad.
It was one of the movies that made it so that when M. Night Shyamalan worked on future movies, they had to keep his name off of the movie because it would do poorly.
My God.
It was so bad. That's way up there. I guess that or Pacific Rim for me. No, I'm just kidding. Red Gunner Guy. I have read The Inner Game of Tennis thanks to Mr. Artosis' recommendations. Interesting idea on Self 1 and 2. So, if you have read the book, how did it help you in some way specifically? Any examples? Everyone has not read the book, I'm guessing, except for Dan. So Dan,
you guys read Inner Game of Tennis?
No. People don't read it.
I've listened to maybe like 20 minutes of it through an audiobook.
Oh, you should finish the rest. I think you'd find it helpful. I think it's one of the best books, like I've mentioned, about getting better at StarCraft. Okay, so I guess the book has a lot in it, but one specific thing, right? If you want to look at Self 1 versus Self 2, and the way that you learn, right? You don't want to be overthinking in game if you're trying to actually, like, it's okay to think in game while you're taking time to learn certain things, and then you have to think it through. But specifically, you'd want to get to a point where you're letting basically Self 2 is kind of like your subconscious, right? So you want that to steer you. Like when Puck scouts something in the game, he doesn't sit there and think like, well, I've scouted this, so logically it should be that. Maybe he says that for his stream, but in his head it just clicks that like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do now because you've seen this.
But
and that's
also he's a Protoss player, so he doesn't
you have
think
to
in game.
let yourself do that. So that would be kind of a specific one, but I could go on for a long time on that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Red Gunner Guy. Nyan, where do you draw the line between the bad outweighing the good, or vice versa? Like the Brood War elitism topic with Beastie Cutie. Even though the shitty comments were minor compared to everything else, it still was enough to boil his lobster. Where do you draw the line? Doesn't need to be StarCraft related. Jason, please tell me where you draw the line.
What? Can I get some like context on what
the
discussion was?
Well, I mean,
about? What is this even?
I'll read it again. Okay, I need you to listen carefully. Puck, you're next after this, okay? Where do you draw the line between the bad outweighing the good, or vice versa? Like the Brood War elitism topic with Beastie Cutie. Even though the shitty comments were minor compared to everything else, it still was enough to boil his lobster. Where do you draw the line? Doesn't need to be StarCraft related.
I have no idea.
Well, you don't get that, Jason? Like,
not even a little bit.
Listen, Puck will show you how to answer this question. Puck, go ahead.
When is
Puck,
any amount of bad good?
Puck, you know the answer to this.
Do I look like I'm understanding any of this?
Where do you draw the line? Puck, where do you draw the line?
Right down the middle, my friend.
There it is. Cobra, that's perfect. This is actually the picture for this question.
So let me do my thing. Question and then actually answer it.
Yeah, Dan can save it. Maybe.
I think that this is talking about like when do you should you care about comments on the internet and things like that. Generally, it's good to not care about what people on the internet say about you. That is going to make you a lot healthier and a lot happier to try to ignore that, whether it's good or bad. You can't just take the good and get rid of the bad. That's not how human brains work.
I like that you tried. That was nice.
I try.
But no, my favorite part about this is if you distill it, because he says at the end, it doesn't need to be StarCraft related, and the only question that's asked in here, other than some weird shots at Beastie Cutie, I guess, is where do you draw the line between the bad outweighing the good? And I guess I would draw it right at the line of where the bad starts to outweigh the good. It kind of feels like that self answers itself. It's like Right there. That's where you draw the line. All right. Inescu asks, why do we never hear Korean pros speaking out against conscription, aka military service? I'm sure you all agree that conscription, especially only for men, is unacceptable in a democracy during peacetime. And esports athletes have an obvious interest in opposing it. Dan, as a guy that's living in Korea, why don't the Koreans speak out against their country?
Well, first off, I don't believe this is technically a peacetime. I believe that this is... I don't know the actual word. Is it like armistice or something? Like North and South Korea are still at a state where, yeah, it's not. This is not just all said and done. You know, there are tensions on the peninsula. This is a real thing, and so you know that is the law. No one ever speaks out about it. Everyone, as far as I mean, maybe there are some people who do, but as far as the pro scene, I don't see how that would help them. They, you know, everyone does it, right? And so that probably makes it easier to do in a way. But
there you go.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing: you say that they have an obvious interest in opposing it. I mean, if it didn't exist, it would help their careers and probably everyone else's careers. But everyone has to do it, and to oppose it, that would actually that would not help them. That would actually give them bad publicity and stuff like that, right? So I don't think that actually would help them at all because they wouldn't even make a dent in changing it either, anyways. So yeah.
Did you guys know that Finland has conscription?
I didn't know that Finland had it.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Cyril has to do military service?
Yep.
Can he still play StarCraft during it? Like tournaments and
well,
stuff? Because the long Korea, you can't make money while you're in the
believe it's
military, which is
different.
why no one streams and no one plays tournaments.
Yeah, it's less severe if I'm not mistaken, and it's not as long. Like the Korean one's 2 years, right?
It's a little bit less now, but yeah.
I believe the Finnish one's 1 year, but we'll need a Finnish person in the chat to answer that to be sure. But anyways, it's interesting. Thank you for your question. Ezio asks, mass infestors need a bit more nerf in the late game. How do you feel if infestor spells cost more energy, but the unit has higher energy cap? It would mean that they can still cast 2 fungal or 8 inf Terran at maxed, but have to wait longer for each spell, and gives the opponent a window to counter. Puck?
I mean, I definitely feel like Infestor's a pretty strong unit that you can like mass a lot of. But I'm kind of confused by what do you mean exactly by how do you feel if Infestor spells cost more energy, but the unit has a higher energy cap? Like you're just kind of making it the same with that proposition.
Well, it would take longer to get the energy to cast a spell. So imagine if the mana regen was half as quick.
Sure.
Or to be honest, this is even weaker because feedback would be stronger against it then.
Yeah.
Well, hold your horse there. The fact that you even said feedback this anything is you need to play
StarCraft.
Yeah, if you have 400 mana, right?
Now we're talking. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be sick. Thank you. Well, Jigglenut, your thoughts?
Well, we're already nerfing a choice with the Ghost and the Infested Terran nerf, so let's wait and see how that goes first, I think.
I just don't want to see Burrowed casting as my biggest kryptonite.
Yeah.
Just having your whole entire army disappear out of nowhere because you lost your observer in the fight, and all of a sudden it's all over because you can't just mass revelate the whole entire map to find the infestors.
Well, I don't think that's going away, though, Puck. I'm sorry.
No, unfortunately.
DSP asks, did you watch the StarCraft remastered speedrun at Summer Games Done Quick? What were you impressions, favorite moments, etc.? Did you learn anything fun from it, Jigglenut?
Sure didn't.
Puck?
I watched him play the first map as Protoss, and it just felt like he was playing one of those like bound maps or like Ice Banding Escape, where he's just running across the map trying to dodge and take less damage.
Yeah. Dan?
Kind of cool.
I watched part of it, and it was kind of interesting. I couldn't help but to think while watching. I'm like, I could do this better than him, and then I had to check myself. But Yeah, I don't think I did not learn anything. I mean, they were talking about, I guess, the rules behind each mission and stuff, and I haven't played the Protoss campaign for a very, very long time. Yeah.
They did shout out the Pylon show on it, so I will say that's awesome, and shout out to them for that. That was really cool. But no, I didn't watch it. I'm a mega tryhard guy. Like, I actually really, for the most part, only like watching competitive StarCraft. And whenever someone's like, "There's 3 kids that have never touched StarCraft before, and they're playing upside down in a water tank. You want to check it out?" I'm like, no, I have no interest at all. So when someone was speed running it, it's cool that it was there, and I'm happy, but it did not pique my interest whatsoever. So if I learned anything fun, the answer is bah humbug. Next question is from Crispy. What is the worst joke you have ever heard? Dan?
Ooh, that's so hard.
Big one.
That's so hard. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up some of these.
I'll go
Frenzy
first.
highlight videos.
You ready? Because I have this. As a guy that's made a lot of bad jokes, I'll tell you what the worst one is. And I'm not saying this because I think it's cool, by the way. This is just the way the stars aligned. Back in high school, and this is going to be hard for you guys to imagine, I like to say your mom a lot, just anything. Anything at all. And
you?
I know. Listen, I've grown since then. I try to have a deeper joking. This is a real story. I'm going to leave names out. But my buddy's mom passed away like a week earlier. She fell downstairs, broke her leg. They found cancer. She died like instantly. It's really sad and terrible.
Gee.
You know where this is going? Is your heart palpitating? Because I do. I'm reliving this moment.
I know already.
We're sitting next to each other. He dropped his pencil. We both go down to pick it up. We hit each other's head, and he said something like, "Damn, you banged me." And I said, "That's what your mom said." Just as like a gut response. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and I was like, "I am so fucking sorry. I did not mean it that way." And he's like, "I know. It's okay." That was like 20 years ago, and I will never forget. He was nice, and he forgave me, but I was like, never again. So I have since then only said that I've fornicated with moms, not just your mom anymore. I've changed to avoid that situation. That's the worst joke ever.
That is.
Good luck following that up, Jiggle Nut.
No, that's hard.
I physically can't follow that up. Like, I concede, dude.
I don't want to win this, guy. Someone has to say something else. Dan, you've heard a worse joke or a bad joke.
I've heard bad jokes, but they don't come to mind. They don't like stay in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I hear it and I'm like, oh my God, and I just move on, you know? And I just try not to remember it because that would be such a waste of my power, right? It's a hard one. I'll think about it. I'll try to.
Okay.
Next terrible joke I hear, I'll
maybe at the
save
end.
it.
But like I said, I want to reiterate, I don't think that's cool or something, guys. I'm not telling a story. I'm literally sharing that because that is the worst joke I've ever heard in my life. And like I said, I profusely apologize, and it kills me that I didn't mean it, you know, it just came out. But that's why you don't say your mom. Hydro 33. This won't happen. But if WCS were to announce a new team league with a large prize pool, how would the scene change? Hypothetically, let's say players need to receive a salary from the team to be eligible to prevent formation of pseudo teams just for the sake of the league. Jigglenut?
Would be good for the StarCraft scene.
What are you talking about? A team league with money and salaries for players? That'd be good for the scene?
Yeah,
That's
think so.
crazy. It's just so crazy it might work. Puck,
yeah.
Surely you don't believe that to be true.
I think it'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see like a 2 versus 2 WCS league.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dan, hypothetically, okay, so it's not real. Mm-hmm. Would you like to see more money?
And it couldn't happen,
it
right?
Can't happen.
It won't.
No.
Okay.
Can you put yourself in a place where you'd think that'd be... I mean, how would that change the scene?
I mean... How about I'll take the other side of it? I think it would be bad for the scene.
Holy shit.
Think about that.
How so?
Because the players that would get recruited to play on this are the same players that are always at the top anyways.
The rich get richer. I agree with that. I hate it.
Richer.
Also patriarchy, and I don't like government. So yeah, okay. We're going to move on from that. I think it's propagating nation states, which are, of course, based off of blood and slavery. Let's just move away from it. FootCU won for Artosis. With the 3 other GSL announcers besides Tasteless this week, what did you think were the best attributes or strongest things each brought to the table? If you're comfortable answering what their biggest weakness or what could they work on to get to Tasteosis level?
Okay, well, I'll skip the weaknesses. I think that No Regret brings really great analysis and isn't... he's someone that can disagree with me on a cast, and I actually think that that makes the cast better because we can... I actually really enjoyed that cast, and he got flamed a little bit on Reddit for it, which I found surprising because for me, that was a very, very fun cast to kind of argue with a high-level player and kind of feel out what we were thinking about everything. And I like that personally. For me, that's kind of like what I like. So I think his analysis is really strong, and he's got lots of passion for the game. He really is into it. I think that Rapid is really experienced. Like, it's very comfortable to cast with him because he just knows what he's doing at all times, and like, it'll never go wrong. You know, he will steer the ship and make sure that everything is working correctly, and that's I always really enjoy casting with Rapid because of that. I like to lean back and have someone that can take care of that type of thing. And Creighton, I mean, it was his first cast, and he brought lots of energy, and it was a very fast-paced cast, which was fun. So
I like that, Dan.
Very well done. He was quite a natural.
Very nice. That was also super positive, though. So, Chad, if you can do me a favor, start up a Reddit thread and just kind of rate the 3 commentators Dan just talked about from worst to worst, and just kind of break down what you hated the most, if you don't mind, and then passive aggressively just talk about how they're not Tasteosis. That's how I want that to go. Alessander asks, now listen, Puck, Jigglenut, this is coming to you guys. Okay, so I want you to sharpen your minds. I saw this question 5 days ago, and since then it has not left me. I'm only going to read it once.
Okay.
How does Blizzard cut down on injuries to the players while maintaining interesting and fun games to play and to watch, which are not the same thing? Puck, go.
Blizzard has 0 involvement. And cutting down the injuries of players is completely dependent on the players to take care of themselves.
Jigglenut, your response.
Yeah, I don't understand how Blizzard would have an effect on that. Like, when I see Bjorn play for 30 hours straight on stream without stretching his hands once, then he has to pause the game in the middle of a GSL match because his hand imploded on itself. It's like, you should probably stretch your hands every few games if you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. You know, they put those things, at least on the Korean client, every hour or so, it warns you. It's like, you've been playing for an hour, and then you've been playing for 2 hours, and so on and so forth.
Really?
Yes, the Korean client by law has to warn you about how long you're playing and that you should take frequent breaks. And that kind of points towards that. But like, I mean, if Blizzard were to do something, I think it would be something similar to that. We're like, hey, maybe you want to think about hand stretches, or maybe like a PSA about mouse speeds. You know, that's something that I think is, you know, underrated and injuring people. A lot of people
with start renting out a gymnasium, having all the players like follow an instructor on stretching their hands before major matches.
You get locked off your account past midnight, Pig? That's a thing in Korea?
Oh, because if you register through the Korean sites, you have to have a Korean ID number, and it registers your age, and at certain ages you can't play past midnight because you have school the next day.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Wow.
Okay.
Of course, that doesn't stop anyone because they just use someone else's account. It's not.
Yeah. Interesting. I think the best way to answer this, though, for the spirit of what Alessander's asked, is how does Blizzard do that? It would be to remove Terran from the game. Because if you look at everyone with wrist injuries, it's all Terran players.
It's almost all.
Take Terran out of StarCraft. You just have Zerg and Protoss.
The whining would
It would decrease
dramatically
a lot.
decrease.
A
Dramatically.
lot. The amount of anxiety and
Is that why
depression
they're
and
wanting
anger.
the wrists hurt? Jason, could you let us know? Is that like
Dan had like elbow tennis or tennis elbow rather in Brood War. Like it was crawling up your whole arm was dying because you played Terran. Isn't that amazing?
It's true.
On a more serious note, like I remember when I first started playing StarCraft, like nobody gave me the whole like spiel on what your DPI should be, and I got like this really cool like modern mouse that went up to like 7,000 DPI, and I was like, dude, let's put it up to like 6K and see how far we get. And you would play like 2 games, and your arm felt like it would come off. So, I mean, just stretch your hands, guys, every couple games. Just
that would be a good way for Blizzard to help, is just having this thing like, oh, do you want to learn about how to keep your arm more healthy? Like, don't play on too high DPI, because then your wrist is doing all these unnatural flick motions all the time, as opposed to, moving your
Puck, you ever had wrist issues?
Not drastically, no. Like, I've generally been pretty content with how my wrists feel.
Yep.
Like, there will occasionally be times where I grinded for like 12 hours, like 2 to 3 days in a row, and like sure, then like it'll be slightly noticeable, but like other than that, not too bad.
Yep.
How's your palm, Puck? Do you have the little red spot there? I know a lot of people have that.
Actually not really. No. I don't really have any marks on my hands from playing.
I've seen people like bleeding while playing in tournaments. It's
really?
Like, they go hard, dude. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the question, Alessandro, and all you do, of course. Wild. How does a player learn to macro better? What specific practice should I do to improve the timing of my structures, stay on top of production cycles, continue to build probes, etc.? Essentially, I know what I'm fucking up, but how do I train?
I would say Go versus the AI, if you want to practice timings in particular. But like in general, the way I did it was I kind of create block sessions for myself where like 1 week, say when I was like the diamond player, I would focus purely on making sure I produced all of the probes for my bases and didn't overdo it. And that would be like the entirety of my focus. And then slowly from there, I'd add on more things to that. So.
Play for late game, honestly. That's what I tell a lot of people on my stream very often. Like, I don't care if you think Protoss is imbalanced and you need to kill them before they hit 3 base. Take a fast third command center, play for 4 base. Plus, you're going to learn more. You're going to play longer games. You're going to have more opportunity to macro it out. It's more beneficial than, playing a 2 base all in over and over and over on repeat. You're going to learn a lot less.
These are extremely helpful, Dan.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Puck on the going into single player. That can help you to discover your build timings. It's helpful if you get some professional replays or professional build orders from those replays or from a bot or however you want to do it, and write down supplies and times, and then you can practice that in single player and just nail when your buildings are actually supposed to come down. And I mean, that's definitely a good way to improve that. But the more you practice and the more you learn, the deeper the understanding of every little piece of that will become. So this is a question you have to keep asking yourself as you get better.
Oh my God.
You can also download a program called Sandboxy, and they'll 2 instances of StarCraft at the same time. Have one with the replay and the other one with your gameplay, and just keep pressing that rewind button to start over.
That was very nice, guys. That was well done. Sebastian Dunn asks, quick one. Will this question be answered? Thanks.
The only answer for that is yes.
Excruciation asks, I started.
Yeah. I started watching the Pylon show in March, and after 3.5 months, I am completely caught up. Now that I know the show won't die 5 episodes down, and the road down the road, I am a Patreon as well. However, since I've only listened to the Pylon show for all that time, what do I do to fill the Pylon-sized hole in my life? Keep it away from the penis jokes, guys. Jiggle Nut, what do you...
What's the question?
What do you... When you're not on the show and you're feeling like your purpose in life is pretty, short, What do you do to fill a pylon-sized hole in your life?
Everybody just tells me to watch Pult, and I tell them to go away. Other than that, I watch Netflix.
What are you watching on Netflix?
I just finished Stranger Things. It's pretty good.
It's a good show.
Good show.
Puck, what about you, my dude?
Just embrace life to the fullest, I guess. I don't know.
Nice. Dan, how do you do it?
Ooh. How do I fill the pylon-shaped hole in my life? Well, on mornings where I'm not on the Pylon show, I play StarCraft instead. That's a great way to do it.
Yep. Okay. For me, I think and this is write this down. I would follow Juggernaut Jason on Twitter, sub to his channel. I would follow _Puck on Twitter and subscribe to that channel as well. Fantastic Protoss play. I go to YouTube and I'd follow ArtosisTV on there. A lot of great StarCraft related videos. And I would go over to his channel and subscribe to it. Don't expect a shout out, you won't get it, but it is good to subscribe to him because I said so. And then when you're done with all of that, get an English Bulldog as a pet. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Sate0 asks, I love seeing meta shifts and innovation in both Brood War and StarCraft 2. Who do you think would have the best chance of innovating a new build that would force a major meta shift, like Bisu and PvZ level meta shift? If they were magically gained top 3 level mechanics for their race, current or past player. We don't have to take too long on.
I mean, if they have top 3 mechanics, I mean, I'd be interested to see somebody like Ruff or Nathanius. Be pretty cool.
Nathanius, good answer.
Yeah. Hey, probably mostly NA players, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
How come, Dan?
The way they play points towards the fact that they don't have good mechanics. So if you could combine that with good mechanics, that can give you a lot of creativity, maybe, because they're suddenly, able to win in a lot of different ways instead of just cheesing.
What about you, Puck? Anybody?
Maybe Starkiller. I once played a game versus him on Automaton. He killed all my workers besides like 13. He's like 4 to 5 bases on 90 supply versus like max Protoss Zerg army, sorry. And he somehow proceeded to lose that game. So.
No, I agree. Like, I've played Starkiller and he's done like the weirdest thing, like Roach into Mutant, Infestor into Mutant into Roach. And you'll like look across the map and he has like no creep spread at all. It's like if he had that creep spread, he would probably change a lot of builds.
Well, he clicks on the all army hockey, and that's the only army hockey he uses.
Did you say he clicks on the all army hockey?
He clicks on it.
Please don't say that on our show.
How many pizzas have you two won?
Checkmate.
He clicks.
To be fair, he's been stuck on 20 pizzas for what feels like 6 months, right? Maybe it's that he's the star killed and he's no longer the star killer. You know what I'm saying? Past tense.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be that. Hyper Turtle asks, how helpful would it be to sell mugs and t-shirts that say, the Pylon show goes live Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific time? Would this risk causing more confusion on weeks where a schedule change is necessary? That's a great question, Hyper Turtle. I feel like to hold back the tide of people that can't figure out when the Pylon show goes live, you wouldn't need to sell shirts. It would have to be like a neurotoxin that you then pump into their like domiciles, just to eliminate them. Not even to, you just need to get them out of the gene pool, or at least subdue them. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Yeah. Maybe we just need to produce a Pylon Show app, which just makes your phone buzz when it's starting.
Well, what about
Really
Pylon
useful
Show? Sorry, what about Pylon Show bathwater?
Ooh.
I love to see a Pylon that went live every single time the Pylon show went live.
Oh, that meme is so good.
Washed his face with this water.
Dude, that girl sold out though, by the way. Like, we all laughed. She actually sold out.
Yeah, I bought 12. What do you mean?
I guess for people that don't know, there was a Twitch streamer that was selling literally bathwater that she bathed in for like $35 a jar, sold out. So there is a market for that stuff, and I guess we are just trying to sell T-shirts. We should probably start looking at some different stuff. I don't know how Cobra has this so quickly on command, but here it. I respect the hustle, man. Whatever, it's creepy and weird, but you freaking made a ton of money, I guess.
Somebody calculated it was like 80 grand per tub or something.
No.
That's insane.
And I'm gonna out myself.
If anyone's interested in my bathwater, get at me. Actually, I live in Korea. I don't have a bath, so there's just no way to do it.
Well, don't tell them that. Is that article real where someone was hospitalized because they drank the water? That's not real, right?
That was fake. That was fake. Yeah.
That's me. I believe
everything. Oh, really? I just assumed it was real.
Yeah.
If people buy it, then someone's gonna drink it, right?
Yeah. Well, they weren't hospitalized for it, at least. Okay, that's enough weird. Thank you for your question, though, Hyperturtle. Every week, appreciate it, my bud. It's a big meme, by the way. It's just a meme that people don't know when the show is. I think people do know. Okay, so Ravi Parikh asks, if you had to swap teeth with another StarCraft player on the day of the BlizzCon Grand Finals, who would you swap with? Only teeth, so you can retain your tongue and gums, and no, you're not playing. You're just you. Thanks, Big Ice Cooler.
So do you get your old teeth back after the Grand Finals?
I believe so,
yeah. Pig has beautiful teeth. I'd take.
Pig's got very beautiful teeth.
I don't know if they'd fit in my mouth though.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. Great question. You're a dragon.
What?
Thank you.
It's pretty straightforward. You just had to swap teeth with some player on the BlizzCon Finals day. Who would you swap with?
Colt.
I don't know why that's. I think it's because Dan laughed as hard as he tips. I don't know, yeah.
Zest is best, so I'll probably go with Zest, I guess.
I would swap my teeth with Toss Girl.
Want to elaborate on that, or
Jeff with his little tiny teeth in his mouth? My God,
it's kind of the same thing, right? God, we're at the end of the show, aren't we? Okay, so Nets asks, he wants me to read this in a voice. To all of our guests in an alternative universe, you guys are a professional male stripper. What would be your stage name?
I got mine.
Yeah, tell him.
Princess Jiggle Nutty Jocelyn of the Jiggle Nutty Palace.
What's happening right now?
We're almost done. I think that's the last question. Puck, you're a male stripper at a strip club. What's your name?
I mean, fuck me, I don't know.
Did you say puck me? For an off the cuff, that's great. Dan, I know you put a lot of thought in this.
I'm trying right now, really hard.
Well, that's a good start to the act, I guess.
Oh my God. Oh, it's such a hard one. What's yours?
That's a good one.
I just call myself tasteless, probably.
I almost said that. Yeah, I'm Nick Plot.
Yeah, Nick Plot, dude.
Like, whoa, it's tasteless.
I'm gonna plot down on your lap over there. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to play off of that.
Sick dad bod tasteless. Why are you a stripper?
Is that Nick?
Well, that's just the people in the audience watching me strip saying I'm Nick. That's
all right. Well, we got really weird here, guys, at the end, and I think that's our way of knowing the show has concluded. Thank you, everyone.
I think we missed 3 questions, Jeff.
What? Are you being serious?
Yeah, we missed 3. That's how I was so confused.
I don't know how you did that.
All right, go back. What did I miss? Oh my God, you're right. I don't know. I swear to God, I didn't see those. Did I just have a stroke? Anyways, Field of Sins. As a 36-yo newcomer to StarCraft 2, I'm enjoying and learning a lot from content produced by veterans like the likes of Vibe, Pig, etc. What's the one bit of advice you would give your younger self when you were first getting into StarCraft 2?
I guess, yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot over the years. I'm sure there's some sort of very good advice that I could give myself back then.
This is 2010, Jeff. What would I tell him?
Probably, like, paying more attention to times in the game. Something we never did in Brood War, so I didn't bring it to StarCraft 2, but StarCraft 2 eventually taught me to really look at the clock and base builds more off of times in game rather than supply numbers.
Okay.
It makes you much more precise in everything.
I would tell me in 2010 that the Seattle Seahawks will win the 2013 Super Bowl, and I should bet thousands of dollars in 2010 that that will be the case.
That is a great tip.
That pretty sick advice.
That's really good.
Also, Bitcoin's going to go ham, like in, you know,
Get it.
2018.
So Jeff just makes himself rich.
Yeah, dude.
Still loses at MLG. No problem.
It doesn't matter. I'm fucking rich. You're like telling yourself how to look at the clock and shit. And I'm over here making sports bets on teams that are going to win Super Bowl. Somebody didn't watch Back to the Future and pay attention.
No, I did, but you're Biff. I'm not. I don't know.
That's right. Puck.
Probably just abuse the Fargate and Immortal Sentry Island more.
Yeah.
Those were good times.
Those were good times. Remember when you used to start warping in pylons in your opponent's base because by the time those pylons are done, you had warp gate already? You can start.
Yeah. It's the worst.
The single thing that actually got Greg to stop playing Protoss was that. That alone was every PvP was like spamming pylons in your opponent's base.
Yeah.
Jiggle Nut.
Well, I guess I'm left with the serious answer. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
If I could talk to myself in 2010, I would say it's okay to lose. It's okay to get mad about your losses. It's natural. Just learn how to take it out in a healthy way and stop telling Protoss players to eat a part of a male body that is not safe for work.
I remember this transformation. Jason was a big BMer on the ladder, actually. Every time I fucking... Because that was back when I was actually good, so I was one of those Protosses taking games off of Jason. And
yep.
I was like, I would be streaming, I'd be like, here we go. Wait for it. And he'd be like, fuck you. And just leave the game. I'd be like, yeah. And now you're
Sounds
so
like
chill. NeosteelEnthusiast, gun to your head. You have to buff one or more units from each of your off races. What balance changes would you make? Your answers have to be a significant buff against your main race.
This requires so much thought.
Yeah.
I would make siege tanks 2 supply.
Wow. Okay, that's a good one. Now what about Zerg?
I think that's reasonable. Oh, I would well, I would buff the Mutalisk a little bit. I would like the Mutalisk to be a little bit more useful against Protoss. I think it makes the game more fun and more dynamic.
I would
exactly what I would do for that.
I would double the range of the Queen's anti-air because I think it doesn't fucking matter. It feels like it's already hitting me anyways. Like the Oracle, it's just gonna die no matter what. So
I've seen a Queen shoot an Oracle from across the map after a recall.
yeah, well, as it should. And now you don't have to worry about that recall, by the way.
If you doubled Queen's anti-air, though, Jeff,
yeah.
That's not just a buff against your race. When Terran is trying to switch add-ons, they would lose their buildings. So,
I think it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
For Terran, the speed upgrade for Banshees, I would double it. What it is right now.
So now it has recall.
Listen, yeah. So if you're not ready for that fucking Banshee, I don't want you to be alive afterwards. Like I want it to show up, kill stuff, get out. That would be so funny.
That would be impossible to like stutter stuff with. It would be moving literally too fast to micro.
That's my secret. Is it'd be really tough.
You like right click it and it goes just past the middle line.
Fucking Terran player couldn't micro it for shit. It would just die anyways. Fly into cannons and stuff. Oh. All right, Puck.
For Terran, I'd probably change the size of the Thor to be about half of like the circle, but like the graphic size would remain the same. So you just have giant Thors just walking on top of each other. And I blow them all up with disruptors.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then for Zerg,
you can make infestors microable.
Yeah, I mean infestors could probably use an auto attack as well.
That would be nice. I like that.
Remember they added Attack the Templar? Who was asking for that either? Like, who?
Nobody, Jeff.
Who was
Nobody.
asking for them to chuck 5 damage? Anyways. Oh.
Too many High Templars were just running into battle and dying, you know, with that all-army hotkey and attack move.
Yeah.
It was a problem.
Now they can.
So now they have an attack. You know, I saw a group of High Templars kill a Zergling the other day. It was crazy. I did.
Yeah.
How many shots did it take you?
Did you report it as an error in the game?
It was a lot of shots. I feel like hallucinations should do about the same amount of damage as
Yes,
High Templar.
they kind of do.
It's very close, but like let's just bring it together.
All right, thank you, NeosteelEnthusiast. GGMNE19 asks, you are given the task of making a new esport. You have to pick a game that is not currently an esport and turn it into the next big thing. Which game do you choose and why?
Well, probably what I would do is just go to the App Store on the iPhone. Go find the number one app that's on there right now, and then have a company copy it, and then the company that copies that copy, that's the one I would make into an esport, because clearly that's the way the business works.
Wow. That was edgy. Jiggle Nut?
Minesweeper.
That would suck.
Sounds exciting.
That would suck. Puck?
Probably snakes.
Okay. Wait, did you say
What about you, Jeff?
Minesweeper? Okay, yeah. I would do, what's that? I would do, like, Mario Maker, but have it be the hardest levels. Like, they just continue to become harder and harder, and you just have to get through it and shit. Have you seen some of that stuff? Have you guys watched any of the Mario Maker 2 stuff?
A little bit.
Some of it's crazy.
Some of the clips that
these
get to me,
levels.
it's like, this person's been trying to do this for 6 hours, and they finally did it. I'm like, it's a Black Mirror episode. They don't even know they're in a Black Mirror episode. Well, hey, thank you for those questions, and we got the next one. So now I think we're done, unless I somehow just don't see any others. This was,
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Okay, thank you.
Do we have our essay?
What's that?
You have an essay?
I asked the next one. That's the stripper
No,
name.
the essay, like.
Oh, the essay.
story.
We have an essay. Yeah, we probably do. Oh God, we have 2 of them, don't we?
Do we?
Cobra, are these both new? June 26th. No, I read that one, right?
You must
It
have.
looks like June 27th. Because we missed the episode last week,
I
right?
did not read the Blinker one, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I read this one. All right, let me read the Blinker one. Inside the mind of a Pylon show host. Wait, I read that one, didn't I?
No,
Nobody
I don't
remembers?
think so.
Not on the show, no.
Okay, I just read this in the privacy of my own house, I guess. And we're live at our usual time. It is 1:17 a.m. on Monday. It never ceases to amaze me that every week I never have to remind people when the show starts. Let's get into it quickly as we have an action-packed show today. Our guests today are Maynard, with his hair high and tight, and meme-hating Fear Dragon, who I will not bully for the next 5 minutes. You're welcome. Artosis, take it away with This Week in StarCraft. Jeff thought he handed that off quite well to Dan. Luckily, he can zone out for the next 20 minutes as that jabroni rambles on about Brood War and pizza tournaments. God, I'm so much sexier than all these nerds. If Artosis was a Warhammer 40k model, he'd be a snotling, he chuckled to himself. Thank you, In Control! I'm glad someone appreciated that joke, Artosis said. Oh God, he chuckled out loud. Now he's given Dan an ego boost. Jeff felt sick to his stomach how to deflect and bring back down, how to bring him back down, he thought. It's knocking him down a peg or two worth listening to. Artosis talk, Jeff thought to himself. No, nothing warrants that. I'm here for you, buddy, Jeff said. Your giggles are killing.
This is too real.
Let's finish this up so we can get to today's main topic, Reddit caster critique threads and how we've learned so much from them, Jeff thought to himself. Oh God, his cross to bear, he told himself. Great work as always, Artosis, Jeff said. There he goes again, he thought. Join us next week as we dive into the mind of Artosis. That was pretty good. Also, get out of my head.
That was good. I don't think you read the other Zesty Chapter 5, though.
Okay. Well,
because that was submitted, right? No, wait, you did read that one.
I think I did.
27th?
Zesty, you tell me. If I forgot, then we'll read it next week. But I'm pretty sure I did read this.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
Okay, guys. Thank you all so much. That was a really lovely episode. Again, shout out to Jim Rising for showing up. It is tough to be on a show that is English speaking when that's not your native language, and yet he did it without a problem. He was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And thank you to Puck and Jason for coming on. You guys can't do math, but neither can the chat. Okay, and at the end of the day, that's fine. We're all in the same boat together. We'll get to our shout-outs here in a second, but I do want to thank everyone that supports us on our Patreon. We have these lovely names up on our screen right now, and without these people, we would literally just be making a show, and nobody would care. That would suck. But because you guys support us, I think people care. That's great. So thank you guys. Really appreciate that. Just as a reminder, and there's a lovely team as well, of course. On Matcherino, the code is meow. If you're not sure how to spell that, it's the sound that Puck's cats made during the show. And it's just MEOW. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps fill out that tournament prize thing. And at the end of the season, we cash it out. And we get closer to owning a moon base for Dan and I. And we'll make a pneumatic tube to have Cobra sucked from Earth to the moon and back and forth. But if you've seen the movie Elysium, he's not allowed to live up there because he's not a part of the higher caste of society. So we have to. It's kind of a work shift. It's a work shift type thing. So thank you very much. And then last but not least, AFKT, of course, Lycan. Thank you very much for your continued support as well. If you liked the questions that were asked earlier and there's one burning in your belly and you're not a Patreon supporter of the show, please consider it because that's the best way to support us, but then it also gives you access to asking questions. There's a whole bunch of really awesome stuff on the way. We're building a forum. Cobra's hard at work on all kinds of amazing projects with his amazing team, and they just do a great job making this something that you guys can get behind and count on, I think. So thank you all. That's it. Let's go down the line here. Puck, you've been streaming a whole bunch. I'm guessing you're not about to board a plane to Kiev.
No.
So what can you tell us about your future schedule here and what you're up to and where people can follow you?
Road trip into Philadelphia in a couple weeks.
How long is that drive?
About 14 hours. As long as I'm doing it with Taldan, and then on the way back, I'm bringing BioIce and Monroe with me. We're gonna have like a little team house session for like a weekend or something like that.
Okay.
Can you play StarCraft and nerd out?
Talk to BioIce about not taking all my ladder points if you don't mind.
All right, I'll mention that to him. He's usually pretty generous with his ladder points for me. I don't know.
Yeah, is that your experience? Wow, not me. So I guess in some ways he's like taking my ladder points and giving them to you.
Yeah, in proper terms, that would be correct.
Okay. Then I don't mind as much. But yeah, follow Puck on Twitter. And like I always say, Puck's one of my favorite streams to watch late at night, game after game after game. A lot of times against Jim Rising. I'm not even joking, by the way. They actually do. How many games do you play a night against Jim Rising on an average day?
I would say at least 15 to 20% of the games are versus Jim Rising.
I'm not kidding. And they're great. I feel bad for Jim Rising because towards the end of it, he just kind of like attacks and then quits and then gets out, and it's.
And I have like a 70% win record versus him.
Yeah, it's a little demoralizing. Yeah. But anyways, check it out. Great stream. Speaking of great streams, Mr. Juggernaut Jason, you got any plans or want to talk about your schedule or anything coming up?
Nothing really in the works. Just streaming StarCraft every day. If you're looking for somewhere to hang out and not complain about balance, then I've got the home for you, my dudes. We play video games. We play Apex, StarCraft, and that's about it. But we're here every night, so stop by.
It's a great channel. I actually don't watch very many non-Protoss players, but Jason's one of the ones that I do. Really chill and funny, and then just the hilarious stuff that happens on NA. He has a very funny reaction to all of it, which is enjoyable to watch. Speaking of great streams as well, Dan, you are always busy, but can you talk about what you got coming up and what you're doing?
Lots of casting still. We have GSL tonight, an hour and a half later than it normally is. I'll be doing in-depth tomorrow with No Regret. Saturday is GSL. Sunday is ASL. Next week, I will be missing 2 ASLs, 2 GSLs, and the Pylon show and in-depth because I will be in China for WCG casting that. So, yeah, still check all that stuff out. Other than that, I just kind of do my stream. That's it. Play a lot of Brood War.
Very cool. As for me, I'm going to a Warhammer tournament tomorrow, so I'll be in the Dirty South with my buds playing across the weekend, but then all the shows will turn next week, and they'll be around for a couple of weeks before leaving for Sweden and Serbia to represent United States in the World Championships of Warhammer, essentially, in the early August area. So I, too, will be missing at least a show, maybe 2, but we'll get those shows to you guys anyways. We've got some really fun stuff in the plans, in the works. And my wonderful producer here, Cobra, is showing that I also do a show called The Deadpan Diaries with that bronze girl. She's fantastic. Kind of the female version of me, which is both a compliment and a warning, I guess. But we just talk about stuff. This last one we talked about how to Twitch chat. So there's like 749 of you guys that should definitely check that out at least. Thank you all so much. We will be live next week, but minus an Artosis. We'll figure something out. And if they have some exciting patch, we'll talk about that. But like I said, there's great stuff coming down the pipe for the show. We're really excited and thankful for all you guys to watch. Have a great night. We'll see you later.